The James H. Reeve phone-in.
There's many a time I've sat in my living room and cried my eyes out because of these tattoos. I've even thought of getting a knife and cutting them off myself.
Call now on 0161 288 0103.
So do you think they're going to cost an arm and an egg? These leg and an arm and an egg.
An arm and an egg?
Oh, brilliant!
Call now on 0161 288 0103.
What they don't seem to realise is that respect on the street, it's not respect, it's fear.
Call now on 0161 288 0103.
I'm entitled to walk in my community safe and live in my own home safe, but they took that away from us.
The James H. Reeve phone-in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
We might as well as wish you had. It's a Sunday evening, and it's the first one of the week. James H. Reeve on Key 103, pleasuring you until 0100. And this evening, we have a practical aspect. We're entering cyberspace with, along with Ritty Hatton, who, I don't know if you saw it, but it looks as if he'd been in a scrap, didn't he, eh? I don't think they'd lined up any pushovers for him with that one. His face was all over the show. I don't know, did you watch, I'm sorry to get onto this sporting thing, but it is part of our national fabric, isn't it? The cup final, I couldn't help but notice, I mean, it's a thrilling game, and you can argue whether the best team won or what, because that's what it's all about. But I couldn't help but noticing that during the post-match interviews that the cup final, which involves running about strenuously for the best part of 2 hours, was sponsored by beer, pop and hamburgers. There was no sponsorship badge for the British Vegetable Marketing Board or anything like that. No, I just wondered whether there's any lesson to be drawn from that. Right, listen, later we'll be soliciting your views on a number of items, including a couple of stories that you just heard in the news. 10,000 offences, it's claimed, committed by people who are on probation. The mother who she's expectant but won't be giving up smoking because she finds, and presumably she is a doctor, must be one of the youngest doctors ever. She says she doesn't find that it affects her pregnancy. The only thing is she has to get somebody else to buy the cigarettes for her because she's 11. She's 11, pregnant, smoking 20 cigarettes a day, been thrown out of school, and her mother is proud of her. Yes, well, wouldn't you be? What about the copper who belted two lads who were kicking the football against his hedge? Yeah, from Wigan, and he was convicted of assault. He's had the assault conviction quashed, and the judge has praised him for acting in the best traditions of the police. So there you are. There's the answer. The next time, why don't you try it? Hey. His colleague, a serving police officer, said he was a fine man and would trust him with his life. Imagine, well, that's good enough for me. One policeman sticking up for another. That just about puts the tin hat on it, that does. So think on, next time you see somebody playing football in the street, go and punch them. That, by the way, is a joke. It's not the considered advice of Key 103, I've remembered to say. Thank you. Allegedly. I always think it's a good idea to say allegedly every now and again. And this, that and the other. And also, if you want to be having a think, there is a radio station opening up. Now, we wouldn't normally, obviously, recommend that you get involved in anything like that. But it's okay because it's, first of all, it's an internet radio station. And we'll find out a bit more about the internet in a moment. But this one has got... Well, I'll let you into a little secret. The radio industry is all about targeting your audience, finding that niche which isn't catered for, or if it is catered for, doing it better than the other people who try to cater for it. That's what Q103 does, you see. And this one's doing the same thing. It's called dogradiothailand.com. Indeed, it's a internet radio station for dogs. And it features... Oh, we'll have to have a listen to this. It features barking DJs, and that doesn't even include Steve Payne, playing vocal and instrumental music around the clock. So that will be our running gag for the evening later, I feel. I'll tell you when. Don't start eating your bun till the vicar says go. But before that is roughly monthly visit is upon us, and it's I should have written like a thing that's full of alliteration and wacky computer gags, but I haven't. So that's the end of that. It's Gary McDonald from RSO Solutions, our resident computer expert.
Allegedly.
Yes, yeah. Now that's a very good time to say allegedly, isn't it? With all the latest. If you want to pick Gary's brains, then 0161 288 0103, because we answer questions. Well, I don't particularly, but he does questions at all levels of access, don't you?
We certainly try
sideways thing, like from the very beginner to the to Bill Gates, if you like. Is that all right, or are we overreaching ourselves a bit?
Yeah,
there?
I think we.
Okay, well, apart from Bill, right, I'll tell Jackie, if Bill Gates rings, shoot him a line. Don't put him through. Don't tell him he's banned, though. There isn't a list. Right. So, up to date with any recent developments, then you've got one of the two things you want to chuck out at us. And also, if you're listening now and you've got a computer snag, then, assuming we don't get bogged down, we don't actually go through it with you over the phone while you sort it out, but we'll give you the broad guidelines. And I'll start with my second omission of the evening, which is that I did hear about a big scam. Well, I was reading it somewhere, and I thought, I must ask Gary that the next time I see him. And I've forgotten what it was. But I think it was something. I remember thinking, that's appalling. That one of the things that you think is safe, and it isn't. And I think it was about people's credit cards getting ripped off.
Probably. Usually one of the main targets, aren't they?
Is it?
I mean, we talked about the eBay one last time I was on, but there seems to be one a day in these days. The one I had a couple of days ago supposedly from Barclays Bank, and it was a very good copy of the website.
But I don't think that this was something that you had to collaborate in. I think they were getting hold of people's credit card numbers somewhere.
Right.
Direct from presumably if you were buying things by credit card, they'd found a way of nicking those numbers.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways people can, they could either get the credit card details from the user by pretending to be someone else, or perhaps someone's found a way to get in some organisation and get the database out in another way. But if you they're stored obviously somewhere in some computer system somewhere. Perhaps it was one along those lines.
So if you have, say, quite legitimately given your credit card for a successful and totally honest transaction, somebody could still get hold of that number.
Yeah, the company's got a record of that, obviously, and depending on how reputable the company is and how secure their own systems are, then potentially, it could be compromised.
Yeah. Mind you, even big reputable companies have come unstuck, haven't they? So that little padlock thing, does that mean you're okay? The padlock. Does it always mean you're all right?
Yeah, but don't be drawn into a false sense of security. Just because the padlock's there, it doesn't mean everything's honky-dory. The padlock basically just indicates that your current connection to that website is the data being sent and received over the internet is encrypted. So if someone's monitoring that traffic to and from that website, they can't intercept it and decipher it. That's the theory.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that the site itself, after you've been and made the transaction, is just as secure. It's just that for that one connection.
And there's nothing you can do?
Well, no, it's down to the people who hold the information, unfortunately, and like everything else, like banks can be broken into the old-fashioned way and robbed. It's no different.
Okay, so you just hope for the best, but I mean, I don't know. Is it asking too much to ask you what the legal position is, I suppose, is it?
Well, I think it depends on the whatever credit card you used to buy the thing, and I think you do have some protection by using a credit card anyway. But I think obviously it'd be pending an investigation, and obviously the banks want to make sure that it wasn't actually you made the rip-off in the first place, and I suppose it gets quite complicated. Actually, I worked with someone who's had his bank details stolen a number of times. He seems to have had a bit of bad luck having his details stolen. How and when, how and why, I don't know. We never got to the bottom of it, but he went to the cash point one day and his bank account was pretty empty.
Really?
More so than usual.
Oh, I see. So, so you can take all the recommended precautions, but that's still no guarantee that everything's going to be.
Like most thieves, if they want something, then they're willing to try hard to get it. Then they usually can in some way. You just got to do what you can do. to try and minimise the risk. But that said, I've been using the internet a long time now. I've bought many things online, and so far so good. I've not had any bad experiences at all.
Okay. Touch wood.
Yep.
Right, 0161 288 0103. And we must stress that whatever you want to ask is, well, I keep saying we. I'm just taking some of the credit here. But Gary will have a busk at most things, whether you're just starting off or whether you're quite sophisticated and you've got a techie question, because he rubs shoulders at all levels, you know, Gary. Because he started off at one time, and now he sends 500,000 tons of crude oil pointing in the right direction.
I don't do one single-handedly.
Oh no, that would be foolish, but virtually single-handedly, and almost in the right direction all the time.
Almost, yeah. With minimal incidents.
So what's new in the world of the cyberspace?
Cyberspace.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Bit of a buzzword. That,
I know.
James.
You've got to say these things, haven't you?
You don't have to cringe when you do it.
I know. Go on.
Well, there seems to be a big thing. It's been around for some time, but I thought I'd mention it because not a lot of people know what it is, and it's appearing more and more on the scene now. And it's something called blogging, and it's basically a way to create your own website if you don't have any technical know-how. So these sites are setting up. There's a few of them around. One of the big ones is MySpace, and is MSN Spaces and Yahoo 360, and it's basically like I say, I've already a pre-built template for a website which you can go in, get one for free, customise it, put your own pictures on there, write an online journal. You can associate your friends with your area, and they can associate you with their area, and you build up a bit of an online community. And the big one is, like I say, is MySpace. It's sort of come over to the UK recently, and for some reason everyone seems to have picked up on it, and they're springing up all over the show now. Everyone's got personal websites these days. I mean, I don't know why anyone would want to read your daily ins and outs online, but they seem to be very popular.
Yeah, I mean, I've been reading about it, and it's the sort of thing that certain newspapers seize on and go on and on about it.
Yeah.
But I get a horrible feeling it's going to be a bit like CB radio. It's
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the advantages. Like a friend of mine, she went backpacking round. Around Australia and Asia and whatnot, and rather send 1,000 emails back to a load of people who may not even want to read the email, she just posted it all online. If you was interested in what she was up to, then you could go and have a look, but rather than fill people's inboxes with useless information you didn't want to read anyway.
But I mean, they are saying though that that blogging is if you like, it can get round. Well, they were saying that journalists have managed to expose things through blogging that they wouldn't have been able to do through the normal channels and what have you. Is there any memorable examples?
I think not linked to journalism, but there was one big success story recently, and it was a new band that appeared on the scene. You probably don't know if you heard of them, James. Or it was your scene, the Arctic Monkeys.
Of course I've heard of the Arctic Monkeys.
Well, as you know, the Sheffield-based band, and they had a very big following online, and they started off on one of these blogging sites, and kept in contact with the fan base, and that's where they were discovered at eventually, because it's not only photos and words you can upload to these spaces. You can put music files, as long as that you're not breaching copyright, obviously, and sound clips, or anything you really want to share with your friends and family, or whoever cares to want to see it, then you can put that on as well. And that's where they seem to have sprung up from, the Arctic Monkeys. And
there's this girl who got herself a deal through. She had a webcam and was given a concert, an internet concert every Saturday night or something. Yeah, with a webcam.
Ah, okay.
And someone will fill us in on the details, but she ended up getting a recording contract and just cuts out, stop. It meant she didn't have to go traipsing from office to office and what.
I heard of that one. It was there was a lot of people who took on the Big Brother concept and put webcams in all the rooms. I think there's quite a few student houses who decided to put webcams in all the rooms, make it publicly available, and obviously pay-per-view, and try to raise a few quid. But there's so many out there now. It's a bit. You got to sift through a load of rubbish sites to find some good ones, and the blogging side of things is pretty much the same. There's a lot of boring information on there, and you go trawling around, but I'm sure there's some interesting ones somewhere. I've yet to find one, though.
Well, actually, Jackie, you know Jackie, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
We were looking at one the other week, which was this bloke, and it was about, you know, what he does for a living, and his mum, and this, that, and the other, and he's 35 and what have you. And it's beautifully done, different categories, and he's got a whole section on Princess Diana.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Well, that one explanation springs to mind, and apparently we were right.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you should start one up, James. You should have the James H. Reeve blog. I'm sure you'll attract a few interesting people.
Another day in this hole. Yeah, well, I think Samuel Pepys would. I think his reputation would remain untarnished. So you can. What do you do? Do you have to pay rent for it?
No, it's they're totally free to set up. Basically, they get the pounds and pence from advertising. Obviously, if there's got a lot of visitors looking at these blogging sites, then if the advertisers are keen to place their adverts at the top of the sites, and obviously that's how they make the revenue, like most things these days.
So would that be an internet service provider who provides those, or are they companies that just...
No, they're sort of springing up all over the show. Like, say, you've been able to do it with Yahoo for some time, which obviously it's a search engine, and this MSN Messenger that a lot of people use for chatting between friends. They opened up a spin-off of it called MSN Spaces, and you can associate your personal space, as they call it, with your MSN signing. But there's a few of them popping up, but like most things in the internet, only a few tend to survive, and the three big ones seem to be MySpace, MSN and Yahoo, who most people tend to use, but time will tell which ones survive, because there can only be so many of these things before they die a death.
Alright, so if you think someone's interested in the ins and outs of your daily existence, then...
I mean, it's a good way to get your presence online if you need to. If you don't have any technical knowledge, they're very easy to set up. Anyone can sign up and get it online, within a matter of minutes. It's you don't need to be a techie in any way to get it working.
Is it by any chance an American idea?
Probably.
No.
The Americans tend to have a lot of things they like to shout about.
Say about themselves,
blow their own trumpet.
Right. Jack in Wigan, who can text, but apparently is unable to use a phone. James, he says, can you ask the computer man? That'll be you, that'll be Gary. My computer keeps freezing and I have to press restart. What can I do? I mean, you get...
It's a bit vague.
That happens to everybody from tech. Yeah, why don't you ring in, Jack, and explain it?
Bit vague. It could be anything, Jack. Well, the emails are coming in now.
Yeah.
Starting now.
Only it's a phone in, you see, Jack.
I don't know.
What was the thing? I had all these things in my head now, and I've got. I'm sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Anyway, go on. You're going to talk about podcasting.
Yeah, that's another one.
Apparently, this might be podcast. I think possibly.
No, I've checked it out. It's not strictly a podcast. The James H. Reeve one. God. So it is a best of and an online version of the James H. Reeve show, which you're all listening to now. But it's not strictly a podcast. To be a podcast, you need to be able to download it and listen to it offline. But the James H. Reeve one, you have to be connected to the internet at the time you're listening.
Okay.
To get it. But a podcast is basically an offline version of a radio show, or doesn't have to be a radio show. It could be a documentary. It could be some idiot in his back garden, in his shed doing his own podcast. But the word came from obviously the Apple Mac have an MP3 player called an iPod, and it just evolved from there. But you don't need an iPod to listen to podcasts. You can just download them, listen to them on your computer, and you can even put them on a CD and put them in your car and play them on a normal CD player. It's just a word that's sort of bit compounded from the iPod MP3 player, although you don't need one to listen to them. But they're great. It's I listen to quite a few podcraps.
Crackpots?
Yeah,
Podcraps?
Podcraps.
Oh, no, I think that's what we do.
Yeah.
Oh, let me write that.
Podcraps.
Brilliant. Yeah. Sorry. You carry on talking. I mustn't forget that.
Make a note of that one. Yeah, so there's thousands of them popping up all the time, and as with the blogs, there's a lot of rubbish ones knocking around, but there's some really good ones, and you just need to rummage through them. But I mean, for me, I do quite a bit of travelling, and obviously don't have access to a radio all the time, and certainly not British radio, and you just download a load of podcasts to your MP3 player, and when you're out and about, you can listen to them, and there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. But anyone can do one. I mean, you don't have to. It's not radio stations who invented them. They actually evolved from a sort of pirate radio. You know, people had something to say, and they wanted to get the message out there. And I think a lot of them started up from a religious point of view. You know, the church bringing out podcasts, you know, to reach the listeners there. But they say you don't have to. It's not just radio stations who do them. Anyone can create a podcast if you feel you have something of interest to say. And,
well, you say that. Well, let's go through how you do it. Actually, presumably you need some sort of recording.
Yeah, you need some sort of recording equipment. Usually a PC with a microphone attached to it.
Yeah.
Record what you want to say. Obviously, if you're a musician, you might want to record some music. Again, there's copyright restrictions on distributing copyrighted material, but there's a lot of unsigned bands out there doing podcasts, and you basically go to a podcasting website. There's a few knocking around, but a good place to start if people are interested is podcast.net. It's like a general what podcasting is all about. But the basic of it, you make this recording, you upload it, and it gets listed in an online directory of podcasts, and you can give it a description of what it's about, what sort of genre it's aimed at, if what subjects it's covering, and it gets listed, and whoever may choose to download it can do so. It's very. So I think it's one of the things that's revolutionised what's made the internet worthwhile the last last 1 or 2 years. It really is a brilliant concept, and it's took off in a big way now.
So this site, they sort of host it. They've got like a bank of these things.
Yeah, a bit like we talked about with the spaces and the blog. You'd have to. I think with the podcasting side of things, you probably have to pay for the space, because you're not just putting text and pictures up there. These podcasts can obviously take up quite a bit of server space. Right. So I guess there may be a fee attached to hosting, especially if you've got hundreds of thousands of people downloading them. It's going to be a bind for someone to do it for free, but I'm sure there are free ones out there. Right. And people can along and download it and listen to it as and when they want to.
So you can either listen to it there and then, or you can download it onto your
MP3 player, or you can put it on a CD and listen to it in your car or whatever. But the theory to the podcast is, well, you can actually subscribe to them. So when, for instance, I've got a list of subscribed podcasts in my list, I want to switch on the computer and attach my MP3 player, it automatically goes out, checks if there's any update, any new episodes, if you like, to the ones I'm subscribed to, pulls them off the internet automatically and pushes them onto my MP3 player, and I can listen to them as and when I require. So it's not real time. It's certainly not going to replace radio, but it's certainly enhancing it.
Oh well, the sooner there's a James H. Reeve podcrap, the better. I'll tell you something else which has occurred since last we spoke, and that is, I don't know if you've looked into it yet, this supposed free broadband.
Oh yeah, there's a few. It's the Car Phone Warehouse spin-off, isn't it? Offering free broad. I looked into this actually, and if you can get it, it's a good deal. It is a good deal. There's no two ways about it. But there's not many exchanges, telephone exchanges, where it's enabled. For instance, I live on the South Manchester side, Sale, and the exchange there is not going to be available. Well, when you put your phone number in, they give you an estimated delivery date of August. So it's not exactly, you can't exactly get it yesterday.
All right.
And obviously, with it being free and the first ones to do that, I'm guessing they've got quite a bit of a backlog of subscriptions there.
That's unusual because does it say in very small print about subject to availability?
Yeah,
subject to availability.
And they are looking at expanding, obviously, to more and more exchanges as they get the punters signed up and start making a bit of money. But time will tell if it's successful. But it's certainly put the cat amongst the pigeons of the other providers.
Has nobody followed suit yet?
Not yet, not as I'm aware of. There's still very much focusing on speed, the broadband companies at the moment. Like NTL are going, their basic service is going to go up to 10 megabytes very soon, and there's that new company in Manchester who's just moved into Manchester, again only on some exchanges, but I think Fallowfield and the student areas are been targeted first, so they're offering 24 megabits, sorry, not megabytes, broadband speeds.
I was just going to pick you up on that. I haven't got the faintest idea what the difference is between a bit and a byte.
It's 8 bits and a byte, James. That's if you're interested.
8
bits and a byte.
Oh, it's nice to see the old tradition of not messing about with in the digital age. We're not mucking about with decimals. Because I'll remember that, because 8 is the same number of furlongs in a mile.
Right. Well, I didn't know that.
Luckily.
So we both learned something tonight.
Well, 10 chains in a furlong, 8 furlongs in a mile. Everybody knows that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
I believe so. Do you think the free broadband will become
I think
the norm?
Yeah, I think it will do. The telecoms companies are really going to have to look at changing the way they price things. I mean, people like BT, with this internet telephone, what's popping up now all the time, people are cottoning on to you can make free or cheap calls over your broadband connection. So I think it's going to be in most people's houses, and they really I think that's where the added value is going to be. 'Cause it won't just be the internet; it'll be subscription services like you can download TV shows and watch them on your TV rather than having to sit in front of your PC. We're going to start delivering other content down the broadband connection, not just the internet. There'll be all sorts. There's already you can already download full DVDs legally. I mean, although they take 2 or 3 hours to download, you can actually buy online DVDs now and download them legally, like you can music, which is quite interesting.
If you're talking about watching things on your TV, surely it must be only a matter of time before you get a TV with a TV and
you look at
PC combined.
Yeah, you look at these new gaming consoles, the PlayStations and the like, all those, the new generation of them coming out now, they all have internet capabilities, and they're all DVD players. So it's pretty much just a small PC sat in front under your TV, and they're just going to be enhancing the way you view content in the future. And only recently, B-Sky B bought a massive internet company called EasyNet, because that's the way they see the way the content's going to be delivered in the future. Because Sky TV is only a one-way system. You receive the pictures. If you want to send anything back, then it has to go through the internet. So it's certainly changing times are ahead, and how things are going to pan out is anybody's guess at the moment. But it'll be interesting anyway.
Okay, 0161 288 0103. We've got inquiries from Jane and somebody else, and that's one for Flick, and Jack. Still not heard from Jack, and no, you can't possibly have a church up your bottom. That doesn't happen. Right. Anyway, the point is this. I'm not going to. Listen, I've got to make a point here. Listen, I'm not sitting here on the end of a piece of string falling over myself because you deigned to send me a text. If you want to know something, call 0161 288 0103, then we can do it properly. In any event, you can't answer questions about something via a text. Jack, pick up the phone. I'll just have a look at emails here. Well, you see, Linda in Lee says this, and don't take this the wrong way, as we say in England on occasions such as this. Would it be possible for Gary to have him talk in English this time rather than computer? Now, Linda thinks she's very witty for having thought that up. She's not, obviously. But the point is that's something that part of the object of this exercise is to put things in terms. I mean, we're beyond Linda's reach at the moment, but part of the idea is to put it in terms that people
try and
understand. So whenever you say something that I don't understand, I sort of stop you and say, how do you mean? And it might work and it might not.
Well, I think we're doing a pretty good job so far.
Oh,
I like to think so. I'm blow my own trumpet. I'll put my American hat on there.
No, but there's. I mean, a bloke said to me once that he said that you don't need to know. You don't need to know how a car works in order to drive it.
Yeah.
But you'd need to know what the things are called and which pedal operates which, really. So that's the sort of level that we're striving at. So yeah, I think if you listen intently, Linda, you'll find that is the case, and we're trying to pitch it. 0161 288 0103, and we'll talk to a Hillman in a second. It's 27 minutes to 11. You're listening to Q103 with James H. Reeve and Gary McDonald. Back shortly.
The Vodafone Live Hour.
How much can we squeeze into 1 hour? 2 live performances from Kelly Clarkson. The Stereophonics give us a bit of the loud stuff, plus Miss Dynamite and the amazing Mary J. Blige.
The next Vodafone Live gig is the Zootons, and we have a pair of very exclusive VIP tickets. Just listen for a chance to win them.
And take that or back. But are they still good? Join us, Joe Good
And Dave Berry.
Monday night at 9.
The Vodafone Live Hour. Music's better when it's live. Key 103.
It's the Lufthansa long weekend, so where are we going?
Definitely Italy, yeah. Roman.
Milan, on his plastic.
Good food, good shopping.
And I would hit Gucci, Dior.
Paris, you know, a little bit of ooh la la.
Before midnight on Tuesday, you can fly to Milan or Barcelona from £119 return.
Venice, 5-star.
Barcelona.
I love Norway, beautiful country, beautiful people.
Great fares at lufthansa.co.uk. Conditions apply.
Maybe Lithuania would be good.
Lovely men. We're in a fantasy thing here, aren't we?
Lufthansa. There's no better way to fly.
A British Army team are attempting to climb Everest via the West Ridge. To follow in their footsteps, go to armyoneverest.mod.uk or text Everest to 84118.
You've got 30 seconds to get out of the house. Not too tricky. But what if it's the middle of the night and you're all fast asleep? And the house is on fire? When you've got 30 seconds to get out of the house, you'd better make sure you've planned your escape. There are simple steps you can take so you all get out alive. Find out what they are by visiting manchesterfire.gov.uk. Do it now, while you still have time. A message from the Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service.
The James H. Reeve phone in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Right, we will do this one because I like this one, and I might be able to help a bit here as well. Wayne in Oldham. We're doing this because this is nice and straightforward. This. Can you tell me how I do defragmentation? My mate said I need to do this every week. What is defragment? I mean, I know what it is, but what is it? What's actually happening? Because I can sit there watching it for hours. It's
it can take for
guessing how many things will change.
Yeah,
it's quite exciting. Actually.
Basically, fragmentation on a computer disk occurs when the computer's being used and it's reading and writing off the hard disk all the time. Information. When you load a program up, it reads it from the hard drive. When you save a document, it writes it back to the hard drive. But when a hard drive does this, it physically just bungs it anywhere on the drive it can. Whatever's convenient. Physically on the disk. It just... I'm sorry. I'm explaining... I've got my hand as but it's not very good for radio. It's... It plonks it on the drive anywhere it can, just for speed. But if it does this all the time, the data on the drive becomes scattered, and it's not very efficient to read the data back out because there's a little arm what reads the data off the drive, and it's constantly moving around.
Is that what makes that noise?
Yeah, the clicking noise inside.
I've often wondered what that was.
Yeah, it's the arm moving across the disk to find the data and read it off or write it on.
So I know what this is like. It's like when you're doing something, like you're fitting a socket or something, and I remember reading somewhere, when you're doing a job like that, allow 40% of your time for looking for the tool you put down.
Yeah.
Right? Because the screwdriver's behind you and the chisel's over there, and every time you need it again, it's in a different place. Is that the kind of...
Yeah, especially if you've got a cheeky little dog who picks up your screwdriver and runs off and buries it in the garden.
That could
happen to me the other week.
Right. I don't know what the computer equivalent is of that, but...
yeah, but it's a similar thing. It's I'm doing a defragmentation. It's it basically looks at the data on the drive, and it files it all in nice orderly fashion to make it more efficient.
Okay.
And that's all you're doing. Now,
so hang on, let me. So, if you don't defragment it, the computer has to remember not that everything's in the toolbox. But it's where it left that thing the last time it used it.
Exactly, yeah. Right. And it's the time it takes for the arm on the disk to move, which makes your computer run slightly slower than normal.
Okay.
But the fact that your mate's saying do it every week, now that all depends how much you use your machine and how, what sort of, if you're doing a lot of burning DVDs and things or whatever, obviously it's going to become fragmented more than if you just, reading emails and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, so you do it as often as you feel necessary, but certainly for Windows computers, I can't speak for Apple Mac users, but in Windows there's a program called Disk Defragmenter, which you can find in, if memory serves me right, you can find on the System Tools, and you can run that, and it'll advise you if you need to run it or not. It'll say we recommend you defragment, and
oh really? Mine doesn't do that.
Does it not?
But you can set mine to go automatically every
right.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Certainly for Windows XP and Windows 2000, it'll prompt if it thinks it's necessary. It won't do it automatically unless you set it up automatically to do that. But if it does need doing, then it'll certainly increase the performance of your machine. But I don't do it when you've got stuff to do, because it can take hours and hours to finish.
Right.
Certainly one to leave on overnight.
It's very, very nice watching all the things change colour, because it's very, very nice, isn't it? Yeah. And then you get like a feeling of release when it's finished and it goes through and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, I probably shouldn't go on about it.
Yes,
but the thing is, I'm going to tell you something now that you should switch off other programs while you're doing fragmenters.
Yeah, because it's moving data, and if you're running a program, obviously that data's being used by that program, so it can't move it if you're already using it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should shut down everything that's not required while it runs. It'll certainly make it run a bit quicker as well.
I'll shut down everything except
Windows itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do you leave Explorer on?
Yeah, Explorer still runs. Yeah. Just your main application, like your email program and Outlook or whatever else you have running. Just leave it idle.
But it is lovely. But show details, it's all lovely colours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything. Oh, it's very, very, very relaxing. Thank you. Joanne. Oh, I'm not falling for that one again. I nearly did. Joanne Card in Radcliffe. Stop it. Ask Gary which software is best to prevent spyware. We have done this one, but no harm in doing it again, is
Yeah,
there?
we've covered this one. It's for those who don't know, spyware is the little programs you pick up off the internet, whether intentionally or not, and they tend to slow your machine down. They're not classed as viruses because they don't do anything nasty to your computer, but they do have a tendency to make things run a little bit slower and hijack your browsing habits on the internet, direct to sites you don't perhaps want to see. So again, there's a link on James's site to a fact sheet which you can download, but the one I certainly recommend and has been tried and tested by myself is one called Adware. That's ADWARE, and you can download that free. There's a free version and a paid version. The paid one is very good, but the free one's more adequate usually for the home user.
Okay, doke. And don't download them from adverts on the internet.
No, because usually
because they are spyware. Usually, aren't they?
Themselves. Yeah.
Right. Defragmenting is like tidying your room, says a helpful Hillman. Right. Barcelona. James, the CD drive on my laptop has started to make a noise when the disc spins, as if it's scraping the disc. Ask your computer expert if he knows what's wrong with it.
Do you want the technical phrase for it? It's knackered.
Oh, really?
No, it's probably the on the laptop drive. There's a little laser in there what focuses on the disc, and what can happen is the electrical coil which moves the laser up and down can go. So you probably find it is actually the laser, hitting the disc and scraping as he thinks it is. So it's I would imagine it's a new CD drive for you. That.
Oh dear.
Probably see it's a bit too serious, that one.
Well, I had mine for a bit. Was making a noise remarkably like a mooing sound.
A mooing sound.
Yeah, it was going like that. You see?
Oh right, okay.
Just like Percy Edwards, that.
That'll be the fan inside the machine.
Somebody said to me it's an.
It'll be what happens is there's a little fan inside the machine. Well, there's a number of fans, but there's one what sits on top of the main processor to keep it cool. And obviously they attract dust, and when they get a bit too dusty, the blades, they don't work very efficiently. And if you find your machine is freezing and locking up quite a lot, it's usually a sign that it's overheating. So if you feel competent enough, it's a good idea to take the side off and just take a dust buster to it and clear away the dust, and that'll improve things somewhat.
It's very distressing to say that something digital like that can be affected by overheating.
Oh, very I mean, they generate. I think most CPUs, they run about 150 degrees Celsius.
Really?
The operating temperature, yeah. If you start one up without a fan on, it'll blow the circuitry in seconds.
Well, never knew.
Complete seconds.
I thought we'd torn ourselves free of these physical considerations and leapt into a different realm. Soon we'll be existing just as pure energy.
No, when I go visit the ships, you can imagine it gets quite hot down the engine room, and believe it or not, they have PCs down there, and the heat factor's quite a big issue. So you have to have nice big fans to keep them cool. And the newer PCs now have water cooling in a lot of them. They have little pipes of water running around, which pipes and electronic circuits and water don't seem to mix somehow. But yeah, they're starting to use water to keep them cool.
Well.
There you go.
Like the old Vickers gun. That was water cooled. 01612 288 0103 if you want to put a question to Gary. But most people, see, we've overdone it here now. It's because everyone's so computer literate since you started telling them what to do that they're all sat on the spotty backsides, emailing and texting. Harry in Gorton says, "Can I ask your computer expert a question? I've plugged the computer in and a little light has come on. What do I do now?" Well, what you do, Harry, is rub it all over with Vaseline.
Take it back to the shop.
Yeah, we'll put that on the. Put that on the website, right? Do you know what MMOSG stands for?
What's that one?
NMOSG.
That's one for Google, I think. That one, James.
Okay.
I saw that one.
Well, that's from Dan, who's a show-off.
There's many acronyms in the computer world, unfortunately. The best acronym I came across once was something to do with flatbed scanners, and it's called TWAIN, and it actually stands for Technology Without an Interesting Name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they couldn't think of anything else to call it.
Yeah. Paul in Oldham says, I've accidentally emptied a carton of condensed milk into my computer. Yeah.
Jackie round,
Right. James, what time is Microsoft Wizard on for? This is pod crap. Yeah. Oh dear, I mean, we just
can't keep everyone happy.
I know, look at this. You know you drive me wild when you talk computers. Please will you say broadband? All right. Oh, Steve in Bradford. Oh, that's too... Oh, shut up, that's too long. Why don't you ring in? It saves time. Jackie in Pendlebury says, can I just ask why are all your guests called Gary? I don't know. It's just one of those things. We're not doing any questions about the TARDIS. Any more of this, and I'll come round and give you a slap. Whenever I double-click on the Football Manager icon on my desktop, it won't open. And that's from Uncle Alex. Shut up! Take this seriously. And Dickhead in Barcelona, I'm not doing any more. Oh, this might be interesting. Can I defragment my laptop whilst my iPod is charging?
Yeah?
Yeah, of course you can.
No problem.
Without damaging anything. Right. What's happening here? Can I play my Mozart CD? No, you can shove it in the same place with Harry's computer. And what's that? I don't know. These text messages are crap. I think I'll confiscate.
I have a problem with reading text language on there.
I've done that, haven't we? I don't understand that. I'm trying to break the world record for the largest pancake. Well, that's preposterous, right? Oh, listen, Dickhead in Barcelona says, no, you tell him. It's not so much a scraping noise, more like the motor that spins the disc. This is on his doings. It sounds as if it's going too fast. It mostly happens when I copy a CD on my iTunes.
Still sounds like a faulty drive, unfortunately.
Okay.
CD drive shouldn't make scraping noises. If it is, then there's something physically wrong with it. So,
you sometimes, when you switch them on, you sometimes hear a little. Just to begin with, but that's just setting things off.
Yeah, that's just doing like a self-test, and it powers up just to make sure everything's functioning correctly.
Right.
But that's nothing to worry about.
Okay. Daniel in Crumpsall. Ask your computer mate. how can I format my computer? Now, what does that mean anything to you?
I wouldn't recommend you format your computer. That means wiping it completely.
Oh, really?
Unless you want to. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but yeah, formatting the computer is formatting the hard drive, which basically means wiping the whole thing clean and starting again.
Oh, does it?
If you do that, then you won't be able to even start it back up again.
Oh.
Well, if you're technically skilled to do that, then go ahead.
I wouldn't if I were you.
I think it's being funny, though.
Oh, okay. Sometimes you put, well, didn't spot that one. Sometimes you, when you put a floppy in, it says, do you want this formatting?
Yeah,
or
it's
something
the same thing, but for the hard drive in the computer.
Oh, is it really? So formatting means just
cleaning the whole lot off, yeah.
Oh, right.
Wiping the whole disk clean and starting again.
Right. Excellent. What was the other thing? Oh, yes. I'm half remembering this scandal that I think I heard. People can have their... If they've got a wireless connection,
yeah,
people can intercept it, and they can find your... if you've got a laptop in your car or something like that, they can find it and pinch it.
Yeah, there's most things have a technology called Bluetooth now, and it's basically a way for different devices to communicate without wires. But most phones have them now, most laptops have them. But yeah, there was a story, I don't know if it was the media picking up on something, but I don't know how widespread it is, but you go to these motorway service stations, and obviously a lot of salesmen on the road there with laptops in the boot of the cars, and people going around with a mobile phone, scanning the Bluetooth frequencies, seeing if there's a laptop in the vicinity, and you can sort of like pin it down to pretty much, within a few meters of, so you could take a potluck guess of which car it was sat in, and then obviously smash the window and you got a new laptop.
But if you switch it off,
yeah, if you power it off completely, yeah,
all right,
yeah, it's only while it's switched on and functioning that it's emitting the signal. But you can actually switch off the transmitter itself. So if you're not using Bluetooth, certainly on a laptop, it's using more battery, so just switch it off anyway.
Well, you should switch things off anyway. You shouldn't have things on standby because it uses pointless use of electricity and not doing the planet any good. And I dare say switching the telly off at the socket isn't going to stop. When there's 1 billion people in China who all want cars and fridges, it's probably not going to make that much difference. But we might prolong the life of the planet well, between us, we might stick 3 or 4 minutes on it before we all disappear. Right, we're going to talk to another Gary. There's something going on here in Ashton in a second. 0161 288 0103. Computers until further notice, 10 to 11, and off to Ashton. No, I'm sorry, it just looked like a completely different word then. I don't know why. Next.
Key 103.
With great fares from VirginAtlantic.com, you can afford to splash out.
Darling, did you ask room service to fill the bath with champagne?
Champagne? It should be the finest 66 vintage, my love.
Right. And what is that doing in there?
Well...
Fly return to LA from only £399. Get this and other great Virgin Atlantic fares at VirginAtlantic.com. Book by May the 14th. Terms and conditions apply. Restricted availability.
Have you started to care less about your appearance? Are you constantly tripping over things? Do you find yourself shouting more than you used to? If this is you, then you may have kids. That's why we've launched the new Peugeot 307 with an exciting range of HDI diesel engines. It's a family car, but for parents who still know that house and garage are types of music, not places you keep your tools. Now available with 4 years typical 0% APR with a 20% minimum deposit. For more information, text KIDS to 60222. The new Peugeot 307 HDI, because kids aren't the end of your world. Written quotations on request from Peugeot Financial Services. A guarantee may be required.
Yeah, everybody thinks Carol smiles. She smiles all the time. I don't, and I smiled even less when I had my second child. I remember them saying, complications, you need this emergency blood transfusion. I just really panicked about absolutely everything, except whether they had enough blood to save me. You just take it for granted it's there, don't you?
It takes 9,000 donors every day to meet the current demand for blood. Do something amazing. Give blood. Call 0845 7 711 711 or visit blood.co.uk for details.
The James H. Reeve phone-in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Right, let's have a word with Gary in Ashton. Gary, you're on Key 103.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, good evening.
Gary.
Hi, thanks. What it is, I actually knock about with quite a few people, and one of my friends called Matthew Fogg, based in Mosley, we actually maintain a website for a charity called Tags Up, which is in the Tameside area, in Glossop area. The web. I won't give you the website address if you want me to. What it is, Matthew's told me recently, Matthew Fogg, that so some of the agencies, right, are advertising on some of the non-job centre websites, and the information is inaccurate, and the jobs don't actually exist.
Yeah, there's I know where you're coming from there, Gary, because we advertised for a job recently for our company, and there's a lot of job websites out there, and they're just agencies, and they post fictional jobs so they can get your CV on file.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Yeah.
And I must admit, I was caught out on that myself previously before I started employment where I'm at now, and it's unfortunately there's no real way you can avoid it. But what advice is just do a bit of reading. You know, if you're thinking about applying for a job on a job website you've seen, just have a search around and see what people are saying about that job site.
Yeah, one of the most reputable ones available is www.jobcenterplus.gov.uk.
Yeah.
But after saying that, my stepdad, called Alan McLean of Ashton, sort of a Hyde, right, has actually said that, what is it like, he's been on that website, and some of the agencies advertising, like, the information is perhaps not accurate on that as well.
Yeah.
There's been in touch with the jobs, some of the agency jobs are absolutely fantastic, there's proper work available, but some of them are advertising. He's been in touch with the managers of the website, and they said that they're advertising, and it's still inaccurate details advertised.
So you just got me taking a sip of water then.
So
just having a brew there. It's
yeah, right.
Because you can overheat just like a computer.
Especially in this studio.
Well, that's because the air conditioning's run by a computer.
I'm not fixing it while mate.
Murder it is.
But I think it's like most things, Gary. You just because it's online, you got to take. No, it doesn't mean it's true. It's just because you read it in the Daily Sport and say, it's.
Yeah, well, what he does in the moment, he does a bit of network engineering for a charity based in Mosley, and he also helps on the website, and he does like. And I passed a few courses like at Mancat and Cytec. The courses are absolutely fantastic. But what the problem basically is that everything's moving so fast. Like the networking systems I learnt on like 3 and 4 years ago, near enough, was Windows NT, and now it's Windows 2003 server, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2003, and there'll be Windows Vista coming up soon as well. New one.
So what it is like is he's trying to do his bit, like, and it's just a bit upsetting that he's just getting knocked back, though, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's difficult because it's hard to stay on top of the new technology unless you're in there anyway doing it. But I mean, even for me, it's difficult because you're always learning and picking up new skills all the time, and you need to stay on top of it to keep a job. Really,
the advantage is with having broadband available, it can tap into all the new innovations and keep in tune with everything.
Yeah. There's only so much you can. I think with the computer industry in general, you need to decide which area you want to specialise in. There's a few different disciplines in computers. You can go into programming, creating software or hardware maintenance or networking. And I think you really need to specialise in one of them. Don't try and be a jack of all trades because it's just impossible. It's such a big subject to try and study. I mean, it's like I suppose it's like trying to be a doctor and being a microsurgeon as well as a GP. You just can't do it. You just need to pick an area and specialise in that.
Brain surgeon, gynaecologist, you can't do.
Yeah, you can't do both.
No. Gary mentioned Mancat there, and you get these things, at the start of the academic year, you get this thing from your local College of Education. They've got IT courses and all that sort of thing. Are they worth having a dabble?
Yeah. I mean, if you never really use computers, or you certainly for the internet, you've got a lot of people still have the concerns about the internet. I mean, we talked about security at the beginning of the programme. Don't want to scare anyone off. The benefits of going on the internet far outweigh the potential risks of not. And these courses are a good place to go, and the government funded. They're usually free to anyone. You don't have to be on benefits or or unemployed, to benefit from them, and they're fantastic. You can go and use someone else's computer, speak to other people, and then they're trained professionals. I mean, they're trained to to explain things and in a way you can understand, perhaps even better than I can. And it's obviously you can mix with other people and and express your concerns and get advice on it. And they run them at the weekends, they run them in the evenings. It's really a good way to go.
I think there is. I think I get one from. I come under Berry, and you've got a choice of 3 places, and some are like it's like 30 quid for. I think they're free if you're on benefits, but it's 30 quid if.
I think Learn Direct do quite a few free ones. I know they've got a few centres dotted around Manchester.
Really?
Yeah, and I said they're not going to teach you how to hack into government websites and go into too much detail, but it's certainly if you're interested in computers generally and you have a few concerns, or you just want to learn a bit more about perhaps digital photography or what websites to go and look at of interest. It's a good place to find that information.
All right, mate. 0161 288 0103. If you want to talk to Gary, if you want to put a question to him. Actually, I've got a certain interest in this myself. This is from Dean in Gorton. He said, I downloaded a zip file, I unzipped it, and it won't run when I open the file. Now he's got XP 2006. Oh dear me.
There's no such thing as XP 2006.
Has he made that up?
Has made that. Well, it's either not sure of the facts or he's junking our chain there.
Or it's a misprint. But I've got that WinZip from somewhere. I don't know where I got it from.
Yeah, WinZip.
I don't really understand what it does.
What it is, it's a pretty essential utility to have on your computer. It's certainly with the age of the email and on the internet. But basically, if you have a computer file that may be 6 megabytes, that can take a while to move around, or it might be too big to put on a floppy disk, or too big to email to your friend. And you can use something called WinZip. It's not just WinZip. WinZip's the most common one, but it looks at the file and it uses some clever compression techniques to make the file size smaller, so you can transmit it more quickly, or you can fit it on a floppy disk and move it around.
Oh, really?
That's all it does. It runs some complex mathematics on the file to get the size of it down. But it's very heavily used in computers, and most computers will already have it anyway. But yeah, so it's not just WinZip. There's something called WinRAR. There's 7-zip. There's all sorts of different programs what will do it. But WinZip is the most common one.
So when you gave us a size, then what would that equate to?
Well, say if you had a typical digital camera, might take a picture of 3 megabytes, which is 3 floppy disks in it. Floppy disk holds roughly about 1.5 megabytes.
Right.
So obviously, if you got a picture and it might be too big to put on a disk, and there's no way to put it on the disk and transport it, so you could use WinZip to compress it. But not only to compress the file, it can split it up into smaller chunks as well.
Right.
So you can put it on a few disks and then move it around.
But then has somebody got to have...
Yeah, they've got to have...
At the other end?
Either WinZip or one of the other programs to uncompress it back into its original state.
Okay.
So then you could open the file.
Because I did like a storyboard thing once with lots of illustrations in the copy. It was like a table of diagrams, and it said the floppy disk won't have it. It requires too much memory.
Yeah, you could have used something like WinZip to get the size down. If it couldn't get it down small enough to fit on one disk, it could split it up into chunks to put on more than one.
Oh, you live and learn. Joe in Manchester, what's the difference between, again, we've done this before, but, it could be news to somebody. What's the difference between a firewall and an antivirus?
Well,
don't antiviruses have a firewall built in?
Depends on the antivirus program. The fundamental difference, it's getting a bit grey now, because like he says, a lot of our antivirus programs have a built-in firewall. Basically, an antivirus is something that monitors your computer and stops you from opening viruses and causing damage, where a firewall is something that sits between your computer and the internet or another network, and it's like a filter. It doesn't allow unknown traffic into your machine, unknown transmissions into your machine and back out again. But a lot of antivirus firms have firewall software built in them now, so it's getting a bit of a grey area, that one now.
Okay, son. Daniel in Crumpsall says, Gary, I can't believe James didn't know what format meant. And how do I switch my PC back on? Well, I hope you can't. From Stuart, second name Pid. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do that one. Anyway, he says, can you help me to get in touch with my dad? He died 2 years ago. No, that's a different Gary. He's in on a Tuesday. But there was something quite interesting here, which again I've lost. I'm not doing the one about your Sinclair 281. Here we are. Lee, my broadband internet connection is always losing its connection. At times, it can be doing it every 5 minutes, and all of a sudden it's okay for a few days, then it starts again. My PC is on about 2 telephone extensions. I know it really should be close to the phone socket, but it's got to be where it is. Would a wireless connection help? Also, my PC takes a long time booting up, and it's terrible for freezing on me, especially when it's connected to the net. Right, that sounds like a lot of problems to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing from the email he's using broadband through his telephone line, not through a cable company, which where a lot of people get the broadband. And so not only is it carrying the broadband connection, the telephone line, it's carrying the voice aspects of things as well, so you can use the internet and use the phone at the same time. And the way, and it's trying to keep it as basic as I can, the technology that carries the broadband connection is subject, can be susceptible to interference. So if you're running a very long extension round the house, and not like a proper telephone extension that BT or NTL would put in, then it might be susceptible to interference a bit more, and that could be why it's dropping the connection quite a lot. So if you used to buy a wireless router with which would connect to your phone line instead, and you could have that downstairs or wherever your phone socket is to shorten that distance to the cable, then that could improve things. So whoever's given that advice, it does stand some sense to do that.
Right. So a wireless connection just within your house?
Yeah, within your house, yeah.
So like a cordless phone?
Yeah, basically like a cordless phone. So you can keep you don't have to have a big long extension lead going up to your PC. You can just have like a cordless phone. You can have your broadband router sat next to your phone socket and your computer upstairs, or even in the shed or in the garden if you want to do that.
All right, brilliant. James, can you explain Macromedia Flash? Well, not me. Can you?
Macromedia Flash is.
I've got it, but I just can't.
You've got it. It's
just nothing happens.
It's a bit. It's a massive program actually. It's a bit like Photoshop. It's for generating pictures and movies, and it's used heavily on the internet because when you create these movie files or these animations, they're very small in size, so they're great for putting them on the internet and transmitting to the masses because the file size of them is so small, and you can do a lot with it. But you'll find a lot of websites that use Macromedia Flash, and a lot of the time you won't even know it is Flash, but it's a way of presenting graphics and images and movies on the internet.
So if you go to a website which the first thing it does is change colour, and then the lettering appears, and then
it's all nice little.
That's all done with Macromedia.
Generally, Flash. Yeah. I mean, there's other programs out there what can do similar things, but Macromedia Flash is has been around for some time now, and it's pretty much the biggest way to present interactive content online now.
Well, maybe we've reached that problem where like kids could do a Rubik Cube when adults couldn't understand why, because they couldn't. Have we got that problem now?
I'm missing there.
The thing I'm trying to... Because I'm a man of, I like to think, small abilities and intelligence. In fact, I'm a genius, really. But I've sat buggering about with that Macromedia Flash, and nothing happens in the way that I intended.
It's a big program. It's like I say, it's most professional websites use some sort of Flash element to it, and like anything that's popular, it's quite complex to work. And so I think you need to buy the Macromedia for Flash for Dummies book, I think there, James, and and sit down.
Not very happy with that remark, but I'll take it in the spirit in which it was intended.
It's a skill that a lot of some talented people have, and I'm not skilled in Macromedia Flash. It's quite a big programme.
All right, 7 minutes past 11. We're going to talk to Roy in Worsley shortly. 0161 288 0103. Gary McDonald from SRO Solutions is here for a bit longer to get fed up, really.
Yeah.
Okay,
Stay
fine.
a bit longer.
Worsley next. Thank you.
Key 103.
With great fares from VirginAtlantic.com, you can afford to splash out.
Oh, yes, that's it. Now, straight down the lens. Now, look into each other's eyes. And kiss. Oh, the camera loves you both. Again. Give me a bit more. Oh, yes. Oh, that's great.
Honey, can we just take our own holiday snap?
Fly return to New York from only £349. Get this and other great Virgin Atlantic fares at VirginAtlantic.com. Book by May the 14th. Terms and conditions apply. Restricted availability.
OK, if you now turn to the diagram on page 6, you'll see how the difference in angle between the twin inlet valves creates a dual swirl effect for improved fuel-air mixture, giving an exceptional output for a diesel unit. Can anyone give me the figure at 4,000 RPM?
150 horsepower.
Yes, excellent.
Dad, do we have to do this again?
Renault would like to apologise for any disruption to domestic life caused by the introduction of the 2006 Laguna range with its frankly astonishing new diesel engines.
Can I have some juice?
Only if you can tell me the combined fuel consumption figure.
For more details about the new Renault Laguna, call 0800 52 5150 or visit Renault.co.uk.
To get free broadband forever, just answer this simple question. Can you find your way to the car phone warehouse? See, TalkTalk, their home phone company, will give you up to 8 meg broadband free forever with their new Talk Free home phone package. So you'll never have to pay to use the internet again. Sign up today at the car phone warehouse. TalkTalk, free forever. One-off connection fee, line rental, fair use, minimum contract terms and conditions apply, subject to availability.
The James H. Reeve phone in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Right, there's far too much tomfoolery and horseplay going on here. How can I get my computer past the blue screen of death?
Go back to the previous message and format it. No, that's blue screen of death is a term when your computer can crash and it's got serious issues. You're greeted with a blue screen with a load of gobbledygook of error messages, and generally, if you get the blue screen, it's pretty serious.
Oh, BSOD.
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
I see what you mean now.
Yeah.
Ron in Rochester. What kind of computer expert is this? How come he doesn't know anything about the TARDIS? Is he any good at Daleks and how they work? Not very impressed. And Johnny Briggs says, my wireless connection laptop doesn't work beyond the grave. Do I need a new router? Oh, shut it. Roy, I hope you're going to be serious. Roy in Worsley, hello.
Hiya.
Roy.
Yeah. I take a lot of photographs.
Mm-hmm.
If I have, we'll say, 250 photographs,
yeah,
and I want to put them onto a CD,
yeah,
use a card reader,
mm-hmm.
If the CD hasn't got enough memory to accept those photographs,
yeah,
what will happen?
It won't let you write the CD, Roy. It's when you go to create the CD with the photos on,
yeah,
and if there's too much information to fit on the CD, then
right,
it won't. It'll just give you a message saying there's too much to put on this CD.
Right.
Remove some.
What would I do? Split them into?
Yeah, you'd have to put it on a couple of CDs, right? If you physically can't put them on there, then you'd have to split it up and use 2 CDs instead of 1.
I'd have to split it into, what, 2 or 3 different folders?
Yeah, if you just perhaps organise the photographs you want to put on CD, and
right,
you might want to organise them in like subject or something what makes sense to you, and then put them on 2 separate CDs. But 250 photographs. I don't think you'll have any problems about putting those on 1 CD, right? Because a CD can store.
Well, sorry, but I've got 1 CD with 100 photographs on it, which claims to be full.
Mm-hmm.
And one with 180 photographs on which claims to be full.
It depends on how big each photograph is and what resolution you're taking the photo.
Yeah.
Obviously, the higher the quality of the image, the more space they take up, and the less you get on 1 CD.
Quite, yeah.
But yeah, it's you certainly won't break your CD writer by they'll try more than it can cope with.
Right, thanks.
Is that it? Is that a fully satisfied customer, Roy?
Yes, thanks very much.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent. There we are. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, somebody sent me some photos on a CD from First World War uniforms and that sort of thing, and some wouldn't open because they'd got like 4 photographs in a montage, and it wouldn't open those. It said they're too big. Even on, I mean, the stuff we've got here is fairly, well, it's part of a massive intranet, isn't it, for all the...
It must have been very, very high quality images, and so not... What did it say? Did it say it's not enough memory?
So cannot open this file. It's too big or something.
Too
like
big,
that.
yeah. So you need a bit. It must be very high quality images not to be able to open, not be able to open them on a standard PC.
Fair enough then.
If you send them me, I can cut them up for you and post them back.
Oh, that's right. Hey, brilliant.
Email them back.
Right.
I've used your physician.
Excellent. This sounds interesting. Never download... Oh, he meant 2005, by the way, not 2006. Okay. Never download Windows Fixer 2005. It's got a virus. I have ASDL.
ADSL. I think he means.
All right, I was going to say, I'm sorry to hear that. And I have Macromedia. Oh, he's in a bad way, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, never download Windows Fixer 2005. It's got a virus. What
Not come across that one, but it's probably one of these rogue programs that pretends to be a great program that's going to fix all your problems, get rid of all your spyware, but it's actually spyware or virus itself.
Is it? Will that be one of these where you go to a website sometimes and suddenly this thing appears in the middle and says, "Are you worried about?"
Yeah. That sort of thing. They're just scams. If just don't click on them unless you've been recommended them by someone. And again, there's a list of recommended programs for getting rid of these things. There's a link on your site.
Of course there is.
Fact sheet.
And it can be found by scouring the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, it's a little bit hidden. It's like a treasure hunt just to find the fact sheet.
Well, yeah. Well, I used your. Oh dear, I've pressed far too many buttons there. I used those techniques that you gave me. So it's in there. You'll see.
We need to build it up and get a few more links.
I know. I've been
lazy.
Been a bit I'm knackered. I am absolutely knackered. Duncan in Stockport, are you there, sunshine?
I am, James. Good evening, how are you? Good evening, Gary.
I'm a bit panicky at the moment because there's far more red lights on here than I think there ought to be, but you can hear us, that's the main thing.
Yes, certainly, yeah, no problem. Yeah, what it is, Gary, I'd like to ask you a question. My son's actually away at university studying computer science and cybernetics at the moment.
Okay.
And he's studying in programming in C++.
Yeah.
And his interests are network security, 3D animation, and also possibly going into the police to work on computer fraud.
Yeah.
But he's looking to try and get some employment when he's back home. Where's he best looking to try and get some kind of employment in that kind of an environment?
Well, the computer science degree, it's quite a broad degree from what I remember. It's I've had a look for a perspective once. I've not studied it myself, but it's quite a broad subject, and it does cover quite a few disciplines within computers. So, as we said before, he needs to really focus on which modules of that degree he's doing that he enjoys doing it, and he's and got a flair for. And
yeah, he's looking at the programming side.
The programming side, yeah. I mean, the programming side is certainly a lucrative area to go in computers. One of the more lucrative ones, anyway.
Yeah.
But regards to finding work, it depends what sort of work he's after. But you'll find a lot of these software companies, like the big ones, Microsoft. They take on graduates, from that point. But a good website for IT jobs to go looking at is jobserve.com.
JobServe.
Yeah, I think they sponsor a football team, actually. I don't know which one.
Do they?
Yeah, I forget now. I think it's...
Is it not Birmingham or something like that?
I don't remember, but but it's a good one. They don't just cover IT jobs, but there's a lot of IT jobs on there.
Right, that's excellent.
But I think the main point is he needs to decide, what he's good at, and if it is programming, then concentrate on that. And once he's one thing I would advise as well, once he's got the his degree, is he can get some sort of professional qualification after that, like a Microsoft certification or something else, just to reinforce the programming aspect of the degree.
He was actually invited last month to go down into London and meet with the Microsoft people, and he went down there for the day and had some work with them. And he's also working, because he's at Reading, who was sponsored quite heavily by Sun Computers.
Yeah.
So they do quite a lot with them as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of big firms out there, and a good place to look as well is the local government. Even the local government have a big IT team these days, and even in-house programmers for developing all the different council tax and local government programs, what they need to run day-to-day stuff.
Right. Okay, that's brilliant.
All right, there are Sunshine.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure. And your pleasure, I take it?
Yeah.
Everybody's pleasure. Stu in Bury says, James and Gary, please can you tell me how to erase all traces of recent internet activity? But can you be a bit lively with it? Only the wife's back from her mother's in the morning. Oh, don't do wife's mother gags. This is the 21st century. Wife's mother. There was something else here which looked quite lively. I don't understand that one. You see, I'm desperate here because some of them I might be making a right plonker of myself. Yeah. Angie says, how do you get into web design and what programs are available, please? I'm not that good at HTML and need to learn the basics. I don't understand that bit. Anyway.
Web design, I think...
I really do not understand that bit at all.
There's two parts of web design. It's, you need to be, well, certainly to do big professional websites, they're usually split up into a couple of teams. There's the artist, the graphic designers who have the artistic flair to make the thing look good, and then there's the programmers who, glue it all together in the background. So like the previous call was saying, I think the best advice I can give is decide which area you like doing most. Do you like creating the creative side, or do you like she just said she's not very skilled in HTML, but if that's something she wants to learn, then decide which way you want to go. But there's some good programs out there. The main one, what a lot of people use, is Macromedia Dreamweaver, and it's from the same family, give you Macromedia Flash, and it's a massive web design program.
I think I've got that as well. And I don't go anywhere near it.
It's a great program. It's a great program, and it's it's as complex or as simple as you want it to use it. But there's a lot of good free ones out there as well. There was one there that used to knock around called Hot Dog, which was a web design program.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's still going, but I used to use that in the early days.
The picture was thick like Huckleberry Hound on the front.
Yeah, and that's a free one you can download. I have to dig that out and put the link online.
Well, that's the thing. See, when you get up Dreamweaver or Flash, this thing comes up. It's like Cape Canaveral.
Yeah, there's so many buttons and...
Yeah. Whereas, is the nearest thing to what you see is what you get.
Yeah, WYSIWYG, yeah.
Is the one where you... Or have you always got to...
I mean, a lot of people don't know, but if you've got Microsoft Word, you can actually save a Word document out as a web page, and it will convert it all for you. So if you can type up a letter in Word, you can save it out as HTML, and that'll do it for you. It's got its limitations, obviously, but if you just want to put a basic web page together, Word's a good place to start as well, because most people can use Word or a desktop publishing program, and even things like Microsoft Publisher, you can save them out as HTML, and it'll do its best to convert it for you, and it's a good place to start.
All right. Even with, say, graphics on it and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it pushes it all out into a folder, and you can upload that to your website, wherever you want to post it on the internet. But again, going back to the blogging thing, these sites where you can blog websites and put your stuff on there, then they're a good place to start, because there's a lot of pre-written templates up there you can use and customise, and learn by changing over someone's learn by example, as they say.
All right, that's not bad, that. Glenn in Warrington. We've not done Glenn, have we? Have we done with you yet, Glenn?
No, you've not done with me yet.
Okay, let's can we do you now, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Gary.
Yeah.
Just a question about the web browsing capabilities of the PSP. Do I take it that you...
Before we get too far, PSP is a handheld games console, PlayStation Portable.
Oh, right, okay.
For playing games. I haven't got one, but I believe they're very good.
Right.
Okay. So you might know more about this than me, actually. Cause
I'm asking in the interest of my children, not myself, really.
Yeah.
Do I take it that I'd have to set up a wireless network?
Yeah, I mean, they've got, if I'm right in saying, I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm not, but I think they have a wireless adapter in the PSP, so that's allows you to wander around the house and communicate to the internet using it. So yeah, if you wanted to use it at home, you would need a broadband connection and a wireless device to connect it via. But I know, I think it's PSP or the Nintendo. You can actually, it's quite cunning actually. I'm sure it's the Nintendos. You can play these these games on the Nintendo console, the portable one, free of charge in any McDonald's restaurant. It's quite a good cunning ploy to get the kids in McDonald's playing the computer games while they're eating their Happy Meal. It's asking for trouble, isn't it? Really.
Who would have thought it?
But yeah, to use it at home, you'd certainly need a wireless device to do that, unless there's someone in the vicinity who's got an unsecure one you can hijack. Although I wouldn't condone that.
No. So you've not actually used a PSP on
no, I'm sorry. I've had no hands-on with that one.
How, generally speaking, how would it work? Can it only? Do you think it would only be able to run as a web browser? It couldn't run any programs or anything?
No, I think there's. Because they're quite new out there. I think there's new stuff coming out from all the time. I think you can get things like MSN Messenger for them now.
Right.
So, you can chat to your mates, and there's a web browser, and I think you can get like online music to download music to it, and even films.
Right.
And obviously there's the online gaming side of things. You can play whatever computer game you want with some random in Japan, via the internet.
Yeah.
So I think there's a few things you can do, but I'm not really not really clued up on that. I don't really have time to play games, and I don't really
busy.
You've been messing around with computers all day. It's the last thing I want to do is
what
start
would
mine up.
be the cost of your basic wireless router?
Have you on broadband?
Yeah.
What broadband have you? Is it cable or telephone one?
It's cable.
For cable, okay. So you need a cable wireless router.
Oh right.
And because there's two types. There's one for ADSL, which is people get the broadband through the phone line.
Right.
And you need a cable. There's a cable one.
I think, having said all that, I think it is cable. It's like a cable the same width as an electrical cable.
Oh no! Sorry, when I mean cable, I mean is it from NTL or Telewest the service?
Telewest.
All right, so it will be a cable service there.
Right.
So yeah, you would need a cable wireless adapter, and they'll set you back between about £50 and £80 depending on which one you go for. But they're coming down in price all the time. I think you probably even pick them up cheaper than that these days.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, you can buy them in most places, the big electrical outlets, but a good place to find them a bit cheaper is online, if you have the technology to do that.
Yeah.
All right, Glenn, you're a bit happier. You're happier in your own mind now.
Yeah, I've got something to work on now.
Sorry, I couldn't help a bit more with that one.
Right, thank you. It's that's surprising, that, because normally it's you find that the kids know more than. It was ever thus. Do you think it was like that with chariots and everything? Years ago, kids saying, "Look at these, Dad," and he's like, "I don't know. I'll never get there. Never get the hang of these." Paul in Oldham, that caller you've had on who is studying cybernetics, is he the one who has been building Cybermen for the conquest of Earth? If so, I don't think you should give him airtime. Quite right. Lee in Gorton, I'm thinking of buying a new PC or laptop soon. I just use my PC for the net and everyday things, letters, downloading music, etc. What spec would you suggest for a PC? I wouldn't be spending a fortune, about between £600 and £800.
Well, I think it depends if you're going for a PC or a laptop. It can be different, because generally laptops you don't get as better value for money with a PC, because obviously the technology is a bit more compact and it costs a lot more to produce. But I think you want something with Windows XP Home Edition or Professional, a reasonable size hard drive. Anything from really standard now is about 80 gigabytes and above. And you want at least about a gigabyte of memory in there if it's a desktop. If a laptop, if you want for a laptop, I think you'd be asking for a gig of memory in a laptop might be a bit ambitious. So you want something like 512 megabytes, which is half a gigabyte.
Okay.
But like I said, the good thing about PCs, you can always upgrade them later on. But there's not many bad. No, you can't really go wrong now. The technology's evolved to a level where, even if you get the cheapest one in the shop, you're still getting a good enough PC to go on the internet, browse the web, and do the general stuff. unless you want to play all the latest Football Manager games and whatnot, then you don't really need to spend a lot of money these days.
Is it the whole story that virtually every piece of technology now is the equivalent of all the technology in the world 10 years ago, and that's always happening.
Yeah, I mean, they just evolve at an incredible rate. It's frightening how soon things get picked up and the price comes down. It's incredible.
Good news, mate. A couple of now this rings a bell. Is
Mozilla
Firefox really faster than Internet Explorer?
In a word, yeah, I think it is. It's for people who don't understand what the two are. When you browse the internet, you need something called an internet browser, which is the program you use to put in the web address, and it displays the text and graphics from the internet. Windows comes with Internet Explorer built in, which is the Bill Gates way of doing things. And
there was another one was it called Netscape?
Netscape, yeah. Well, that's where
you don't hear much about that these days.
Yeah, well, it's sort of died a death because Netscape evolved from Mozilla originally, and I think and Mozilla is a free one you can download. That's developed by the internet community. It's like a not-for-profit internet browser, and it is very good. I think it tends when you first started up, it can take a little while to load, a bit longer to load up than Internet Explorer. But actually, once it's open and you're using it, it's very good. It's just personal preference. If you like Internet Explorer and it works for you, well, why change it?
But if you wanted it, you just download it.
Yeah,
you get an icon on your desktop.
Like with any other program, yeah, and you use it for browsing the web. It's got some really nice features, actually. It is good, and I use it, and because it's not as popular as the Microsoft one, it's a bit more resilient to security risk, because obviously if a hacker's trying to extort your bank details from you, he's going to target the masses, and the masses use Internet Explorer, so these viruses that are out there, they might not generally exploit Firefox or all these other browsers that are out there, so they tend to have a better rep for security.
That sort of rings a bell, yeah, because you've got more chance of a better strike rate.
Yeah, That's why Apple Mac users always brag on about they don't get many viruses, because there's not as many of them as Windows users, so they don't get attacked as much.
Right. Anonymous message: Serif Web +9. I'm using it at school. It's very easy to use and better than Macromedia Flash.
Oh, that's a web design tool, I think.
Yeah.
That's one for the previous caller. That tool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's. I think you have to pay for that one though. I don't think it's a free one.
Ah. Well, if it's free, we naturally prefer free things, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, great thing about the internet is a lot of things are free out there, and it's good.
Okay, just do a quick couple now, because you've had a busy week, strenuous weekend, haven't you?
Yeah.
And this man.
A bit of fatigue setting in now, I think.
And been drinking lots of water, I can't help but notice.
Allegedly.
You're not on the bridge of a super tanker tomorrow morning, are you?
No, I'm in the office in Eccles tomorrow, so I'll be okay. I'm off on holiday, so even better.
I'll tell all seabirds the good news. Peter says, I'm using Windows 98 SE and would like to upgrade my system. What's best to upgrade to? The software I use is Professional 95 and my internet connection is broadband.
Okay, Windows 98 SE stands for second edition, which was the last one of the 95 before they went to Windows 2000 and Windows XP. Yeah. And you can upgrade. In theory, there's no reason why you couldn't go out and buy yourself a copy of Windows XP and upgrade. But it depends on how old your machine is. If it's an old machine, then it might be a bit of false economy to go out and buy Windows software, what's really designed for a newer machine. It might actually make the machine run even slower than it is now. But if you go to the Microsoft website, there's like recommendations on there of what your minimum system specification should be before you even consider upgrading to Windows XP. It might be more cost effective to go out and buy a new PC, because to buy Windows XP off the shelf, it's about £70 or £80. So, well, obviously, you get it included with a new machine usually when you go out and buy one. So, you might be better off just putting that 70, 80 quid to a new computer.
All right, mate. Well, listen. Obviously, now we've just got a sudden flurry of enquiries and what have you. But you're knackered, and it's time to change tack.
Yeah. I've got something before I go, actually, Theo.
Is it loaded? Oh, fantastic!
Some red rubber
bands. Oh, brilliant! Hang on. Is the time? Oh, I bet I can't do this in time. Where? Oh, no. Oh, it's not there. Hellfire. Wait a minute.
You have to be quick.
You see, that's the thing. In the old days, you see, before it went all digital, I'd have had this on a, what do you call it? On a plastic box with tape in it, and I'd have spun round, slammed it in the slot, and it'd be playing by now. But I don't know where the bloody hell it is. Oh, thank you. I just found it, and she just tapped me on the arm, and I've lost it again now. Right. Anyway, well, thank you very much indeed. Guess what Gary's just given me? Can you guess yet? How many's here, son?
There's quite a few. I've picked them up when I've been out walking the dog.
There's 20 there, and they're easy.
Yeah, at least. I've a couple of weeks worth of that. Seem to have one on me on the footpath every morning.
They are all over the show. Right. Gary McDonald of SRO Solutions.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Nearly talked up to the vocal then, but we didn't really. Thank you very kindly. We'll see you in about a month or so.
Yeah.
And we'll upgrade a bit of info on the website for anyone that needs.
Yeah, I'll get some of that online before I disappear on the holes.
Brilliant.
I've
talked over the vocal.
Oh.
Each to his own.
That's why you're a chalk show host.
Yeah. Aye, thank you.
So high you won't come down. If you're prepare yourself for the rubber band, man, you'll never heard a sound like a rubber band. Man, you're bound to lose control when the rubber band starts to jam. Oh, this dude is out of sight. Everything he does seems to come out right. Once I went to hear them play at a club outside of town. I was so surprised, I was hypnotized by the sound his cat put down. When I saw this short fat guy stretch a band between his toes, hey, I laughed so hard 'cause the band got down when it finally reached his nose. Hey, y'all, prepare yourself for the rubber band. Whoa, you never heard a sound like a rubber band. Man, you're bound to lose control when the rubber band starts to jam. Got that rubber band up on his toes, and then he wriggled it up around his nose. Guaranteed to blow your mind. Playing all the music, yeah, keeping time. Round the world, did he learn that? Oh, Lord.
So it just gave me a bit of a breather, that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Fantastic. 16 of the 340 million, wasn't it? Red post office rubber bands discarded by an uncaring postulator. Oh, I thought they were going to come back in again. So just a reminder, the jar's getting full. Any that you find, get them too. Fantastic. Just drift in and out, don't I? I've had enough of that now. Right, I'll go and stick them in the jar. You listen to these very, very carefully, and then I'll tell you what the next stage of the process is. It's 20 minutes to midnight. This is James H. Reeve on Key 103, and we might talk to a Hillman about a burning issue of the day shortly.
Key 103.
When the doctor said I had a brain tumour, my legs buckled. He put the X-ray onto the light box, and it had my name above. It said Martin Kemp. He said, we're going to operate tomorrow. And it was only when I got into bed and you get that space to yourself that you start to worry about what's going to happen, about if you're going to make it, about if you're going to live to see your children grow up. The only thing that I didn't worry about during all of that night was if the hospital was going to have enough blood to operate on me. You just assume it's there, don't you?
Do something amazing. Give blood. To find out more, call 0845 7711 711 or visit blood.co.uk.
Key 103 are bringing Snow Patrol to Manchester. Tickets are on sale now, so don't miss out. Call the Key 103 ticket line on 08701 223 103 or book online at aloud.com. Snow Patrol, live at the MEN Arena on Wednesday the 29th of November, only with Manchester's official concert station, Key 103. The James H. Reeve phone-in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Do you know, I'm absolutely exhausted after that. It's probably best if I let Jackie take the strain in a moment. But first... Oh! A bit earlier tonight. This is a letter what came, and it said, Dear Mr. Reeve, I've recently moved to Salford to work on a 6-month contract for a building firm. My home is in Poole, in Dorset. Oh, I've been to Poole. It's nice. It's, that was an absolutely terrible tragedy during the war, wasn't it?
What?
When, a Japanese pilot who'd had his hearing damaged by the explosions and that, accidentally bombed Poole Harbour.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, I bet this bloke's never heard that one before, being from there. Never thought of that, really. Anyway, I started to listen to your radio show on the first night, having trawled all the local stations. Yours seemed the most fun.
Oh, yes.
Oh, what fun we are! We have a local station in Poole, which I always listen to when I am at home. What I am writing to you about is that there's a presenter on our local radio station who calls his callers Hillmans. He has been using this catchphrase for about 7 years. I just wondered how long you've been using this saying, or is it common everywhere? Keep up your good work. Oh, this is like a being awarded for the Conspicuous Gallantry Medal, isn't it? Joe Bridge. Right, well, I've been using it all my life.
Yeah. Much longer than 7 years.
Ever since I was a teapot lid. I've been saying that. So, I don't know. I have been to Poole, but I didn't listen to the radio station while I was down there.
He's clearly listened to you, though, and nicked it.
That'll be it. His name's not Dave Spikey, is he? No. Can you imagine that? Anyone who'd steal gags or just ideas off someone and go and present them as their own.
I know. Yeah.
Perhaps even on a stage somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. As part of like a comedy routine.
Yeah, that would be the worst thing,
Masquerading.
Yeah. Anyway, look, catch up with some emails here, because we've got a load on matters various.
John in Salford. Hi, James. I passed that pet shop on Tib Street yesterday. They had a big black hamster in the window. Just for a moment, I thought it was your wig. Naughty Nicky's back. She says, I'm still looking for my ideal sugar granddaddy. I offered you the job last week and I'm offering the job again. 4 nights a week, good prospects, and my promise to be gentle with you. Well, at first, anyway. Lots of love from Nicky.
I'm prepared to overlook the sort of rather offensive beginning there.
Hi, James.
Might look into it further.
This is from Noggin the Nog in Northland. Me and the lads...
Look, I bet you've no idea about Noggin the Nog.
I have heard of Noggin the Nog,
It's the most fantastic thing ever. Apart from defragmenting your computer. That's very nice, yeah. But Noggin the Nog. In fact, we can find a little bit of it later.
Okay.
And play a little bit of Noggin the Nog. Brilliant.
Me and the lads have just got back from a ravishing weekend in Manchester. We had a great time. Just one complaint. It's very difficult to find a car parking space for the long ships.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand that.
Long ships, you know. Long ships. That's what Vikings row about in.
Okay.
I have to, you see, these things on the canal here, these are called, I keep making the mistake, those are called narrowboats.
There's not many here, though, at this end.
No, it doesn't matter how many, I'm just saying that's what they're called.
Oh.
Right, they're called narrowboats, but I keep calling them longboats.
Oh, right.
But that's a different thing altogether.
Okay.
That's like Kirk Douglas would be standing in the prow.
Ron in Rochdale. Hi, James. Did you notice there was no sign of Manchester City in the FA Cup final yesterday? Doesn't this cast yet more doubts on the predictions of Q103's legendary mystic psychic Gary? I'm losing my faith in his powers.
Well, he did say that Manchester City would be in the cup final either. He wasn't sure whether it would be. He could see 2006.
I could see it somewhere, could I?
Yeah. Now, he didn't know whether that meant the year 2006 or the season 2006 to 7.
Oh, I see, yeah.
But City are fully prepared for the next time they get to the cup final.
Yeah.
They've all learnt by heart the words to God Save the King.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Hello, James, says Moira in Ancoats. If you don't stop picking on Q103's lovely Jackie, we, the members of the JLF, Jackie Liberation Front, will come down to the studio and give your legs a good waxing. Oh, that hurt you. What?
Sounds all right, though. I'd pay money for that.
That'll make you think twice. You wouldn't pay money for it. It really hurts.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go get that Hillman while you speak to her.
OK, then. Dear James, this is from the Reverend... Yeah, from the Reverend R. Peace. I've got a problem. My church is up my bottom. I recently needed repairs done to the roof, but the workman wouldn't enter my church. Well, could I suggest you're approaching the wrong sort of workman, if you follow me. Right, I'm going to do some sort of a brief menu of tip-top topical items for you in a second, but I'd just like to tell you this. If you want to put your head on, your comedy head, this is, I mentioned this before, the world's first internet radio station for dogs has been launched in Thailand. Yep. You can have a look at it if you don't believe me. Dog Radio Thailand features barking DJs playing vocal and instrumental music around the clock, and the owner, who is called Anyupan Boonchion, believes listening to music has an effect on canine behaviour. He said, I've noticed that dogs often respond to music. Some wag their tails. Some lift their heads while lying on the floor. Blimey, Charlie, he's practically David Attenborough, this bloke, isn't he? At my grooming school, we found that when we turned on music, the dog's mood improved. They were more obedient and let us trim their hair easily. He says 10 students from the dog grooming school have been hired to work as DJs. He said, Mr. Boon Chuen said one of the main qualifications is that he or she must be good at barking because dogs are our listeners. The DJs may have to make different sounds, such as whining or barking, to match the mood of music that they play. And they must be able to communicate with the dogs, even if they can't see them. Well, it's very... Yeah, I know exactly what he's driving at here. Very much like my own training. So, that's the plan for this evening. That's the running gag, is songs that you would play on Dog Radio Thailand. Now, that gives you plenty of scope there, because you've got dogs in it, you've got Thailand in it, and you've also got a custom they practice in Thailand connected with dogs. So you've got everything you want there. What would you play on dogradiothailand.com? Never mind the .com bit. That's the gag. That's the gag. See what I mean? See what I've done there? Brilliant. We're going to talk to Phil in Eccles. Even before, I just thought we'd start the ball rolling, even before I've done the menu for you, because he's thrust himself forward. So here he is, once again. Phil in Eccles on Key 103.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah.
Look, I was listening before.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this police officer who slapped a kid.
Indeed.
And you seemed to disagree with what he did.
Go on.
Why? Why disagree with what he did?
Do you want me to tell you the story?
I know the story. I've read about it.
Do you want me to tell the story to anyone who doesn't know it?
Please do.
Right. A policeman who gave 2 teenage tearaways a clip round the ear has had his conviction overturned after a judge decided that he had acted in the best traditions of the police. A PC Sean Mullaney, aged 38, who has spent 2 decades on the streets of Hindley near Wigan, was arrested and suspended from duty 18 months ago. He was said to have slapped the 2 teenagers because they had repeatedly kicked a football against his car and hedge. He maintained...
Yeah,
Are you all right?
I'm listening.
What are you doing?
I was yawning. I'm listening, okay?
He maintained that he had done no more than push one of his tormentors away.
Okay.
He said he had been confronted by the pair and verbally abused. Okay, listen.
Yeah,
listen,
I'm
listen,
listening.
listen. I'm sorry, is this too much trouble for you?
No, I'm waiting for you to get to the point where it says something like...
Let me give you some waiting lessons, okay? Shut your face and wait.
Okay.
Okay. The two boys, who cannot be named, had caused numerous problems in the area and were referred to by some of P.C. Mulaney's neighbours as hoodlums and thugs. Yesterday...
Like in Goodfellas, yeah?
Very likely.
Right.
Yesterday, the officer, who is 6'3",
Oh, yeah.
was hoping to return to his beat after the judge
But
ruled
who said
that...
that size isn't important, you know? I mean, Al Capone was only 5'3".
Was he really?
He was, and Julius Caesar was 4'7".
So I understand.
Absolutely. Genghis Khan, he was a dwarf.
Well, I think there's some... Not sure whether he was a dwarf. He was certainly of squat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, Judge Adrian Lyon said there is no doubt that the officer acted properly and appropriately in standing up to these young people who were seeking to wind him up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's an offence of winding up, is there? Anyway, he did so in the best traditions of the police force. Okay?
Yeah.
P.C. Mulaney recalled having to tell the two teenagers to
Is his
move...
name Milady?
Yes, milady.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Milady. That's his name, is it?
No, it's not. It's Mulaney.
Oh, right, okay.
Not milady. That's Mrs... You'll have Mrs. Parker on again, saying, stop impersonating my husband. He recalled having to tell the two teenagers to move from outside his home on more than 50...
How many?
50 I've got here.
50 occasions.
More than 50 occasions, he had lost count of the number of times they had damaged his property. Well, that's not like a police officer to lose count. You see, I make a note of everything in my notebook, sir. That way I can remember it. That's what he should have done, but he's only, you know...
I know.
He's not like the master. On December the 6th, 2004, he found that the boys and two other teenagers had damaged his hedge by kicking a football against it.
Mm-hmm.
He was quite annoyed and warned them that if he caught them outside his house again, he would report them to his colleagues.
Yeah.
2 days later, he spotted them again and noticed yet more damage to his hedge. I felt they were calling my bluff, that they were sticking two fingers up at me, he said. They knew what I do for a living and disliked it. That was the cause of it all. One of the boys called me, stand by, Mrs. Parker, called me a prick. He clearly wasn't...
Well, if he was wearing his helmet, it might have looked a bit like a kind of a Negro prick, a black prick. I mean, you know these old-fashioned policemen's helmets, do they still wear them? Kind of like a fireman's helmet.
Well, no, more like a... Well, in fact, exactly like a policeman's helmet.
Right. Do they still wear those, Reeve?
Yes, they
Well, he
do.
would. If he was wearing that in his uniform, he would look like a... If he was 6'3", he'd look like a well-endowed black prick, wouldn't he?
Well, no, he'd look like a policeman.
Okay.
You sound like one.
What, a policeman?
Yes. He clearly wasn't frightened of me and came into my personal space. I felt threatened and pushed him away. I certainly didn't thump him round the ear. That's not the way I conduct myself. The court heard that although one of the boys had marks on both ears, he did not require hospital treatment. Right. He accused the teenagers of intimidating his neighbours and claimed he needed to show them that he would not be intimidated. He said, I'm not having someone sticking two fingers up at me in my street. He needed to know I was prepared to stand up to him and his friends. The officer's partner, beat partner, P.C. Schofield, told the court, Sean is a gentle giant. They always say that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust him with... I would trust him with my life.
But would he trust him with his wife?
I don't know. You'd have to speak to him personally about that.
And where does he live?
It was up Wigan somewhere. Shut your face!
Okay.
P.C. Mulaney had been given a 2-year conditional discharge following convictions for common assaults at Oldham Magistrates Court. Both the convictions and the sentences have now been overturned. Greater Manchester Police said its Internal Affairs branch would review the case.
But you know what, to me, Reeve, this is a damning indictment of the police's utter impotence in today's society. You've got a policeman here, he's told these yobs 50 times to go away, and he just stand there going, yeah, bollocks, ain't going nowhere, you know what I mean? And they just laugh in the face of this. And then when he pushes one, they get him done, he gets suspended for 2 years.
Well, the language does sort of veer around rather here. It's pushing, slapping, clipping.
Are you against what this cop did?
Well,
or he's
it's
alleged to have done?
very
Because you
interest-
weren't against the woman teacher who fired the air pistol at the yobs that were terrorising her in the close at the cul-de-sac where she lived, were you?
I steered a middle course, as is...
Why, therefore,
as is,
do you not steer a middle course with this police officer who was under tremendous stress?
Is
and
it
he finally lashed out because he just... The situation was so utterly absurd he couldn't take it anymore.
Is it tremendous stress if someone is kicking a football against
Well,
your
if
hedge?
you tell me where you live, I'll come round to your street and I'll kick a football against your hedge for about 6 hours, and you can come out and tell me to piss off 50 times. and
Please
finally, when
do.
you assault me, I'll get you done.
Oh, honestly, would you do that, really, please?
I would do, and I'd come down with Roy from Tameside.
Oh, yeah, even
and possibly
better.
The boring pillock that was on last week talking about cruise ships.
Brilliant.
Who you couldn't remember who he was.
That's excellent. I wish you would, because I live on quite a busy main road.
Do you really?
Yeah, that would be excellent.
Okay.
Right.
Reeve, the point
all my
I'm
troubles
trying
would
to
be
make-
over.
The point I tried making is that we live in a society today where no one respects anything. I've just been watching Panorama before. And it was talking about the amount of immigrant criminals that are in this country. There are zillions of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Zillions? How many is a zillion?
A lot.
Probably a few 100,000 at the very least.
Oh, right, okay.
And
So-
they are taking over.
There's
They come
seven-
from places, yeah,
Yeah.
where people earn $20 a week if they're a doctor.
I think,
They
you,
come
I,
from-
I think you said all this the last time
No, no, I said
you were
something
entertaining
similar.
us. Oh, yes,
Similar, but not the
something
same.
similar. Something similar to the point of being indistinguishable, I think
Do you
I'm
know,
right in
if I
saying.
was a criminal,
It's,
which I'm
it's
not-
certainly set off down this path.
If I was a criminal, which I'm not, I would love to come to this. Do you know how people abroad see this country? They see it the way kids see Disney World. It's like
Right.
the promised land. It's the land of milk and honey. It's like, hey, let us go to England. We will screw the system and make a lot of money. God damn it.
So the country's full of criminals of mixed, judging from your accent, mixed Russian and Mexican
That's
parentage.
right, yeah. They're probably, yeah. But look at the Afghan hijackers. They're living in private houses worth 250 to 300 grand each in suburbs of West London, getting loads of benefit, living the life of Riley. Can you imagine the outcry if I hijacked a plane in this country, flew it to Cuba, and Fidel Castro let me off? Let me live in a suburb of Havana.
That happened
and
all
get me
the
benefits for life.
that actually happened all the time in probably in the 60s and 70s.
And we would
it happened
see
on
that
a
as
number of occasions.
utterly absurd,
So
wouldn't we?
well,
And
I
yet
mean,
it happens in this country.
yeah, but the comparison is entirely futile.
No,
so
it's
so
not.
I wouldn't. Well, no, I wouldn't pursue that one.
We live in a bonkers country full of bonkers people. The people that are in charge
you can
are
say that
absolutely
again.
off their toss. They're nuts. They're completely nuts. It's almost as if, it's just madness.
I'm sorry.
Honestly,
right.
Reeve,
Just a minute. I'm just trying to paint the picture. You have how many people have you spoken to abroad?
I've spoken to quite a few, actually.
Right.
I make it, look, when I'm walking around Morrison's, there are South Africans there, there are Lithuanians, I make it my goddamn point of the day to say, hi, I just noticed your accent, are you from Libya? And they might go, no, I'm from
Failsworth.
Poland.
Yeah, all right,
And I'll
sorry,
go,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right, you're
yeah.
from Poland,
Yeah.
yeah? And then we'll talk for about 5 minutes, and I do my Columbo impression. I'm really self-effacing, and I pretend that I like them, and I don't want them shipped out.
What, do you pretend to be sort of
I pretend to be a nice guy.
Yeah, and a bit ineffectual and down at heel.
Yeah, like a kind of working-class Hugh Grant.
Oh, God, yeah,
Really
blimey.
foppish and full of shit.
Yeah.
And I get away with it. I do it convincingly.
Yes, you must do. It must require a monumental effort on your part.
And I can
to
honestly
appear to be
say
a
to you,
dead
that
leg.
these people, they're bleeding us dry. They shouldn't be here. I was in Didsbury a few weeks ago. I went in Aldi.
Oh,
the
did
store
you just
manager,
go...
He's Polish.
Aldi in Didsbury?
The irony of having a Polish woman as the manager of a German shop. And do you know why she's the manager? Or the manageress? Because the Germans who own the store, the people who own Aldi, they don't want to employ English people as managers. The bloke who's in charge of Aldi in Eccles is from Greece or Albania or somewhere.
Yeah.
They don't want to employ English people because they, as managers, because they don't trust them. They think, what they actually think, what the head office people at Aldi think is, if we employ Poles or Germans or whoever in an English or a British Aldi, they will be loyal to us rather than the country where they come from, well, rather than the country where they're residing.
I'm finding this difficult to work out, actually.
Look,
so is that the fault of the British for being untrustworthy, or the fault of the Germans for being typically German and failing to trust us?
That's right, it's the fault of the Germans.
Which
but
one?
It's the fault of the Germans.
So
And it's
the
the fault of
Germans...
our immigration and our government for letting these people come over here and take our jobs.
Right. What, well, when you say our jobs, you don't actually mean our jobs, do you, Phil? Because no one's taken the job that you actually want to do.
I could have been the manager of Aldi's, okay?
Well,
I used to work
possibly.
once. There was a time, I told you years ago, I was actually in charge. Well, I was the assistant manager of a spa shop in Whittington.
Well, that's right, yeah.
And I got sacked for helping out pensioners that were being caught shoplifting. I let them off.
Oh,
They found out. Someone
right.
grasped on me, somebody working in the shop, a little gutter snipe grasped on me, and he took over as the assistant manager.
Oh, wait, whoa, hang on, whoa. So, you were helping shoplifters...
Look, I was showing discretion.
No, wait a minute.
I was doing the right thing.
No, just a minute. You were helping shoplifters. Shoplifters cost the country how many? Don't they reckon it costs everyone £30? Everyone in the country £30 a year
Well,
to
some
pay for the cost.
people like you, they can afford that.
Okay. Oh yeah, quite so. But I'm thinking of people less fortunate than myself, which is virtually everybody. So you were turning a blind eye.
I was like Jean Valjean.
You were turning a blind eye to shoplifting, and you're now saying that these people kicking a football against a policeman's hedge is typical of the way the country's going down the nick.
Look,
it's full of people.
You don't see the comparison, do you?
Well, I'm trying to make as many as I possibly can.
Look, listen to me. An old age pensioner's in a shop. She doesn't have much money. Yeah? She puts a packet of bacon bits under her armpit. She tries getting through the door.
Right.
The security guard catches her.
Right. And he says
the
what?
security guard's usually an African, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's laying the heavy hand on her.
Invariably,
You use discretion. You say, look, I know you don't have much. I can understand this. I'm not going to prosecute you this time. You can go. Just don't make it a habit of doing this.
He says, he points at the bacon bits and he says, what are you doing with those? And she said, well, roast potatoes.
Yeah. God, you're so good, Reeve.
Oh, dear me.
Listen, yeah?
I stole that off Dave Spikey.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, listen, yeah? You
What?
cannot see the parallel, can you, between doing something as just as that? That is almost Jean Valjean-esque.
Okay, wait a minute. Whoa.
And a cop giving a slap to a yob who's making his life a misery.
Right. So if you went out, I mean, I don't know whether you've got a hedge. I don't even know whether you'd go out. I have my doubts about that.
I'm a hermit, Reeve. I don't go anywhere.
If somebody...
Not now. I'm agoraphobic now. I'm on sickness benefit. I mean, since losing my job at Spa, I've become a recluse.
Okay. If you saw someone kicking a football against your hedge, assuming... Okay. Against something you hold dear.
Yeah.
And you went out and you slapped them.
Yep.
What do you think would happen?
Well, it depends on how hard their dads would be, wouldn't it? If they were hard blokes, they'd probably come round and lynch me from a tree or something.
Okay. What you think it is there for? You see, I can see circumstances in which the actions of PC Mullaney would be deemed as taking the law into your own hands, which apparently you're not supposed to do.
I think you've got to use discretion.
Now, you see, funnily enough, on, I think it was Thursday night, this is exactly the situation which would call for my death ray.
Yeah.
So there would be nobody to complain about this entirely, in my view. It may not be justified within the law, but it restores the natural balance, doesn't it?
It does, Reeve, it does.
Okay? You're minding your own business, your hedge is growing there, you've got it nice. I actually mentioned hedges specifically.
Benson and hedges, yeah.
No, your hedge is looking nice, and someone pulls a big piece out of it.
Yeah, it's terrible, it is. I used to do it as a kid. I used to run into people's hedges, and it was appalling. And if a bloke had come out and slapped me, I'd have accepted it.
Right. But
with hindsight, I actually agree with that.
But you see, what can happen is you get repercussions, you get people taken to court, it's using it for taking up police hours and all that sort of thing.
Told me many years ago,
the death ray would solve it instantly.
But my mother told me years ago that when
no awkward questions afterwards.
My mother said that when she was a kid, a cop he wouldn't arrest you, but if he saw you doing something wrong, he'd give you a clout round the ear and that was it, and discipline crime and law and order was a lot better back in those days, back in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. Look at the way we have things today.
Okay.
There are certain parts, I wouldn't go through certain parts of Greater Manchester because I know for a fact that I'd probably get murdered.
What, how far would you take this policy of summary justice being administered by the police?
I watched a Western.
Listen,
let me make my point.
Answer
I watched
that
a
question.
Western many years ago.
Answer that question.
Well, I'm going to answer it if you let me.
Are you going to use Judge Roy Bean or something in this?
Yeah. No, actually, what it was a couple of cattle ranchers. They saw some blokes who'd rustled some horses, and they just lynched them from a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the way it should be. There was a famous Scottish judge, I can't remember his name, but he said, hang a thief when he's young and he'll know steal when he's old. I think what we need, and obviously that is very extreme, and I don't agree with that in the extreme way that he meant it.
Well, you think lynching should be carried out
Look, I think
with a light touch?
Look, I'll tell you what I actually believe. I believe that when the cops arrest...
You think we should have neighbourhood lynch wardens?
Who's a persistent offender, I think that rather than arresting him and having to do 10 hours of paperwork on him before he gets a caution or gets let off the following day in court, they should be able to take him somewhere and give him a good hiding, maybe break his hand or his arm, and he won't come back.
See, the trouble with these new lampposts, these very tall, slim ones, is that they haven't got
the ones that resemble you.
Yeah, indeed, and they illuminate everything for all around.
The dogs like to piss again.
Oh, the problem is they haven't got that cross piece, have they? Which was actually for the lamplighter to lean his ladder on, but came in very handy for hanging partisans.
Reeve, you told
throw a rope over that.
You told the listenership a few days ago, yeah, that you were at a garage a couple of weeks ago. It was late at night, and there was an Asian bloke, I think you said, who was working in the garage, the petrol station. A couple of white yobs were taking the piss, and they were threatening him. You said yourself that if you'd have saw those blokes attacking somebody, if you'd have had a cricket bat in the back of your car, you'd have took it out and give one of them a whack over the head.
If I could have got one in?
Right, and yet you're bollocking, you're castigating this cop for pushing a kid who he'd told 50 times to clear off. Where's your logic?
I'm asking you... how far should that go? At what point is a policeman entitled to dispense summary justice?
As far as I'm concerned, yeah, when he's right. When you've got some nasty little bleeder who is annoying everybody, and his parents...
Oh, well, now that's a very interesting picture that you paint there.
And analogy...
A nasty little bleeder who's annoying everybody?
Yeah. And it isn't me, okay?
Oh, I see.
Maybe I'm a verbal nasty little bleeder who annoys people, but I'm talking about a real pain in the arse who causes trouble for people, who makes people's lives a misery, and people can't do anything about it. I honestly believe that in such circumstances, under such circumstances, the cops should be able to grab that little bleeder, pull him in the back of a van, give him a slapping, dump him 50 miles from home, and not charge him with anything, not arrest him, not process him, not do any of that crap. Just give him some rough justice. I honestly believe that would work for the betterment of society.
Okay. What about, there's a bloke at night, he's swaying about, he's broken one of these, JC Deco bus shelters.
Yeah.
And, what do you think should happen there?
I think he should be given a good hiding.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that he should be given a flogging. I mean, I'm just sick of these people, these wasters who make other people's lives a misery. Look, every time one of these bus shelters gets smashed to bits, the council have it repaired within a couple of days. It probably costs taxpayers a couple of £100 a bus shelter.
Do you know, when it was announced that we were having glass bus shelters put in Manchester, we spoke to them, and the first thing I said was, who, in the unlikely event of one of these, of a glass bus shelter being broken, who pays for it? And the bloke from JC Deco said, we do. The company do. It's a private company.
So how come they've not gone bankrupt?
Because you're allowed 3.
Right, okay. And then the council have to start paying.
No,
so
no, In the interest of accuracy, I'll overrule your previous statement. After 3 breakages, the glass is replaced with polycarbonate sheeting of a beautiful battleship grey colour.
Right. But wouldn't it be nicer if we lived in a society, where you didn't get these dickheads going around smashing up bus shelters, where you didn't get tossers hanging around outside people's houses, kicking balls against hedges and refusing to go when the person they're harassing is a police officer? Wouldn't it be great if we had a society based on discipline and law and order?
But of course, and that is what we strive for. But it doesn't happen. It would be in the words of who was it? I forget who it was now. Some famous judge.
Was it
anyway.
General Custer?
No, he said a virgin carrying a bag of gold should be able to cross the country unmolested.
I totally agree with that.
Well, of course, and, right. Anyone with any sense would, apart from the scrote, like the bloke I saw this afternoon, funnily enough, riding his track bike, which is been specially adapted to be as noisy as is humanly imaginable. Up and down the main road, wearing no crash helmet, no registration plates. Okay, you can hear it for miles.
Reeve, what we need, and I'm telling you now, I speak hand on my heart, what we need the kind of... We need to go back in time to the days when, people... I mean, look, can I tell you a little story, please? It's an interesting story, believe it or not.
Say please, then.
Yeah, I did, actually, because it's an interesting story.
Well, I
China,
can't see that from
in Hong Kong, when Hong Kong was under British rule, there was a notorious Chinese gangster. He used to be a major armed robber. He did Hong Kong's biggest ever robbery of a security van. He got £7.5 million. He was caught, jailed, released on appeal under a technicality. He graduated towards kidnapping the sons of tycoons. He actually ransomed several off for, I think it was $100 million each, and he got away with it. They could never get this bloke. He had his own private army, Yeah, he was massive. He used to go to Macau and gamble millions on the crap tables, the roulette tables.
Yeah, hurry along now,
Listen,
Yeah.
When Hong Kong was, is the word ceded to China, when they took it back, within a month of them taking it back, this man was arrested for kidnapping the son of a tycoon. He was sentenced to death. He appealed, I think it was 2 days later. The appeal was turned down. They took him out and they blew his head off.
Jobs are good.
Now, that is what I'm saying. That man, under a democratic government, he would never have gone down. He would never have paid the price. He was taking the piss.
Shall I tell you something, actually?
If you can.
But of course I can. It's suggested here that more than 10,000 crimes a month are committed by offenders who are supposed to be under the supervision of the probation service. It is claimed International Home Office documents show that an average of 7,800 criminals are arrested, cautioned or convicted each month while on probation. Can you turn Bix Beiderbecke down a little, please?
Django Reinhardt.
Oh, right. Oh, fair enough. They are responsible for 10,206 crimes a month, the paper claimed.
Yeah.
So there we are. Now,
Well, look,
you see, but on that
years
basis, this is an interesting concept as well. There is considerable concern when murderers re-offend, and understandably so.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, though, is that murder has the lowest re-offending rate of any crime. Did you know that?
Because if you do it, you're probably going to get caught, aren't you, and go to prison for 9 or 10 years. Then if you come out and do it again, you're kissing your life away. Whereas shoplifting, it's not on the same par, is it?
But if...
I mean, look, you can shoplift for 5 years and never get caught.
The re-offending rate for... Well, I mean, if you're the manager of the shop, certainly. The re-offending rate...
That was a low blow, Reeve.
The re-offending rate is, for murder, is a fraction of 1%. The re-offending rate for crimes of robbery and violence is something like 70%.
Well, that's because,
So why don't we hang everybody?
Look, murderers...
This is why there is no substitute, and it just solves the problem altogether. No tiresome inquests. My death ray, as soon as I've perfected it, I will be conducting interviews...
Look,
I will be assessing the suitability of people to possess one of these things.
With regard to the listen, what about this? With regard to the death penalty, why don't we have a consensus,
Jack is just falling full length on the floor.
Or I don't agree with it. And if you agree with it and you're found guilty of murder one day, they hang you. And if you wrote that you didn't agree with it, that you don't want it reintroducing, and they find you guilty of murder one day, you just get 15 years in jail.
Didn't understand the question. Anyway, I'm fed up of listening to you. 0161 288 0103. Tell Phil to stop phoning massage parlours and giving us abuse. That's from Julie. I hope you'll bear that in mind. Billy Depeche in Sale says, tell Phil, me and my friends are going to spend the summer holidays looking for him because he's our hero.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Do you want a few emails before we have a break?
Hang on. I'll tell you when. Dr. Babs in Cheadle says, I think it would have been only fair if Phil had donated a share of his wages to those poor pensioners.
Sorry.
Just a minute, we're going to stop all broadcasting now, because Jackie has just fallen in through the door, and is now, and of course she's not been here that long, and they probably didn't tell her at the interview, it is indeed a sacking offence to spill a glass of water.
Sorry.
This close to all this electricity.
You jumped. Sorry.
Come on, hurry up, hurry up.
Jackie in Pendlebury says, hi Jackie, sorry I've been spelling your name wrong. I didn't know we spelt it the same. Rock on, sister. We both spell it the correct way, don't we? How about a Jackie and Jackie double act? James is into girl and girl fun, isn't he?
Well,
Some more requests there.
I'm looking forward to when Condoleezza Rice meets Margaret Beckett.
Anne in Astley. Hello, James. There are rumours going around Astley you're a bit of a martial arts expert. Is it true you're a black belt in both yoga and origami? Wow, what a man.
I do a bit of sushi as well.
Sushi?
Yeah.
Sue in Denton, your fan. Hi, honey. I was watching the Mr. Universe contest on Friday. I was very disappointed to note you weren't taking part. With biceps like yours, you would have won easily. There's only one body beautiful, and his name is James H. Reeve.
Now, fashions change, but I think at the moment, there's an emphasis on bulk, isn't there?
Yeah.
Now, I mostly do willowy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Quality rather than quantity.
Yeah, yeah.
Nikki, just for a bit of fun, can you and Jackie do an impression of the Shake and Vac advert live on the air tonight? It could come under the novelty items part of the show.
I've not seen the latest one.
With the Shake and Vac... there's only one, isn't there?
Is there?
The original one.
Oh, right.
Do the Shake and Vac with the freshness back. That one.
I assume so, yeah. I'll look it up.
Okay, I'll go wipe that water up.
Yeah, I would if I were you. It's creeping nearer. It's the surface tension. I can't stand it. Is it time for some important messages? Oh, yes, it is. And then, oh, God, hell, fire, we're going to Doncaster. Oh, dear. And also, I'd just like you to reflect on this. Listen to this. This is fantastic, this. A girl will become Britain's youngest mother when she gives birth next month at the age of 12, beating the previous record by a month. She became pregnant at the age of 11 when she lost her virginity to a 15-year-old boy during a drunken night out. I hope you're making note of each intriguing stage of the story as we go along. Drunken night out, aged 11. Police said yesterday that the boy had been charged with rape and had appeared in Edinburgh Sheriff's Court. He will appear again on July the 10th. When the baby is born, the girl will be 12 years and 8 months old, a month younger than Britain's previous youngest mother, Jenny Teague, who I think was from round here somewhere, wasn't she? The girl, listen to this, the girl from Edinburgh smokes. Now, in case you're thinking, oh, 11-year-old girl, 15-year-old, you know, in case you're thinking anything like that, the girl from Edinburgh smokes 20 cigarettes a day, but has insisted that she is ready for motherhood. I'm not doing the accent, because it just sounds like the Crankies anyway. I didn't think I'd get pregnant because it was my first time. But I'm really excited and looking forward to being a mum, she said. I can't wait to take the baby swimming and out for walks in the pram. Great, take her to the bath, you'll both get in for half price. I think I'll be able to cope as I've had lots of practice looking after my brothers. On the subject of smoking, she said, I can give up smoking at any time, but I don't find it affects my pregnancy. Brilliant. An 11-year-old doctor. The girl's mother, who is supporting her daughter, is 34 and has an 8-month-old baby boy of her own. She said, I'm not ashamed of my daughter. In fact, I'm proud of her for keeping her baby. The girl left school after being excluded for fighting. Right. The Conservative health spokesman in the Scottish Parliament said, I hope that this will draw attention to failings that have allowed such a young girl to go on a night out, get drunk, get pregnant, yet seemingly be ignorant about the risks and consequences. There we are. You know that gag about the bed sheet hanging out? Happy 30th birthday, Grandma. Not so far out, were they? 0161 288 0103. Oh, apparently the 11-year-old pregnant girl has smackhead parents. Anyway, we're going to Doncaster in a second. You can guess what's going to happen when we get there.
Key 103.
This is Magic Summer, the album. Packed with mellow music for the perfect summer's day. An incredible collection of songs from the Magic Network. 40 classic tracks from today's most popular artists. Magic Summer, the album.
I love you just the way you are.
It's out now.
We planned to decorate the little one's room this summer. We planned to make it a surprise. We planned to get a new furniture too. We didn't plan for the house to catch fire. We didn't plan an escape route. I didn't plan to lose someone I loved that night. I didn't plan.
If you want plans for the future, plan your escape route. For more information on the steps you can take for safety in your home, visit manchesterfire.gov.uk. A message from the Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service.
A British Army team are attempting to climb Everest via the West Ridge. To follow in their footsteps, go to armyoneverest.mod.uk or text Everest to 84118.
The conventional wisdom is to remortgage every couple of years. But when you add up how much that'll cost in fees every time, maybe it's not such a wise move. Here's an idea. Abbey's Flexible Plus Mortgage. Because it's guaranteed to always track just above the base rate, you get a great deal for the life of the mortgage, so you'll never want to remortgage again. To find out more, call Abbey on 0800 80 80 80, visit abbey.com or your local branch. It could be the wisest move you'll ever make. Abbey, more ideas for your money.
10% deposit, £599 booking fee, 0.49% above Bank of England base rate. The overall cost for comparison is 5.2% APR. Calls recorded.
The James H. Reeve phone-in on Key 103. Call now on 0161 288 0103.
Just trying to find Nog in the Nog so we can give you a little taste of what this extraordinary thing was all about. Let's hang Phil in the middle of Piccadilly Gardens and flog him with an iron whip, says a well-wisher. Colin in Bradbury, policeman or not, this is PC Mullaney. He did the right thing. Why should they be allowed to act like such tossers, which is a legal term? Get this vexatious Charlie Hunt off. That's referring to Phil. I am a personal friend of Sue Pollard. And Dean says, I'm 17, studying medical science, working in a pharmacy. I'm going to be a paramedic. Do I qualify to be the holder of a death ray? You sound like, at this stage, it's probably a bit early to say without going through the formal assessment, but I would say more than, yeah, probably. Whereas this bloke, he would be, in fact, I think we might use him during the trials. Gary in Doncaster. Gary?
James!
Gary.
Do you know, I've heard you described as many things over the years, but the body beautiful...
Yep.
Now that's funny.
Beautiful.
You look like Evil Roy Slade.
Evil Roy Slade. Now that is a funny film.
I watched that film yesterday.
Did you really? Was it on Yorkshire?
No, I've got it on DVD.
Oh dear.
You look like him, you. I'm sure you played that part.
That was, what was his name? John...
Oh, I ought to know that, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, he's the husband in the Addams Family, isn't he? Gomez. Aston. John Aston.
Really?
Yeah. See what a genius I am. What was the other thing I meant to ask you? Do you remember Noggin the Nog?
No.
Right, that's a bit of a conversational cul-de-sac then, isn't it?
Hey, how's your relationship going with that fella in that cafe?
Fella in what oh, next door?
Yeah.
I don't know. He sort of waved the other day.
I wonder if that's why you keep having your hair done.
But you see, he says, and he's very observant, and the thing is that people of his, who are a bit light on the feet, like that, you know what I mean?
Have you grown a moustache yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
But you see, they are, the nice thing about people who are a bit homosexual, yeah, is that they can spot physical attraction. They can make an objective assessment, you know what I mean?
Clearly he can't.
Well, no, they see, their sense of that sort of thing is very finely tuned. And the beautiful thing is that they're very uninhibited about expressing it, you see, in a very non-threatening way.
Listen.
See, now Jackie and Debbie Mack, and I think most of the female staff here, they do actually want to drink me bathwater, but they don't want to say it out loud up front because they feel it puts them at something of a disadvantage. So that's why he doesn't feel inhibited in that way. I mean, I probably arouse thoughts.
You know what's the matter with you, don't you?
What?
Have you ever heard of dichlorodiafluorocarbon monoxide?
Yeah, of course I have.
Well, that's what's the matter with you.
Okay.
Did you not know this?
What's the matter with... What have I got?
It's called dichlorodiafluorocarbon monoxide.
Right.
Right?
Sounds like cigarette smoke to me, that.
Now, what happens is, if you sit in an air-conditioned room, right...
Oh, no, is this another scientific theory?
This is another scientific fact, this.
Oh, no, oh, right.
Yeah. Now,
like the aluminium tea bags?
Yes.
Yes.
The American Motor Vehicle Organisation have discovered, right, that the design of air conditioning, right...
So, can you not make out what it says in your Reader's Digest there?
Listen.
With your 40-watt bulb and your miner's cottage.
It allows the carbon monoxide, right, to leak into the guts of the system and mix with the freon gas. And this produces dichlorodiafluorocarbon monoxide.
That'll be not diclo.
Eh?
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Listen, right, and this causes Alzheimer's disease.
Oh, well, I've no chance then, have I?
No!
I'm pouring aluminium down my throat. I might as well pour molten aluminium straight in my ear and drink a cup of tea.
Tea bags and your air-conditioned studio.
Can you tell me something new?
What?
Well, over the weekend, amongst the many things that I do, because I'm organic, you see.
Yeah.
I'm turning over the compost heap. I just got to set another one going today. It's lovely, and it's hot already. I only made it on Saturday morning. It's boiling hot. Lovely. So I'm turning out the last lot of compost with the tea bags in it, and I'm expecting to find all this aluminium in there. I'm panic-stricken now. I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot of little aluminium discs where me tea bags have been. But no.
Well, there's not enough aluminium in them. And there's only...
right.
Don't forget, there's two types of tea bag. Some firms actually make them out of paper.
There are two types of tea bag in this world, my friend.
Yeah. Now, you might be buying the paper bag.
Those which let the flavour flow through.
You'll be all right, you see.
You what?
If you're buying the ones that are made of paper, you might be all right. It's only the ones that are fused with aluminium wire.
Well, of course I'm buying the ones that are made of paper.
Well, they all look like paper, but some of them are fused with aluminium wire.
What do you mean they're fused? What are you talking about?
They are fused with aluminium wire.
Fused?
Yes.
What do you mean, fused?
I've still got the paperwork here. Hang on.
Oh.
Yeah, there's two types of tea bag, right? The first one is it uses lathe technology, yeah? Where the rope is affixed using a laser beam. The second method uses aluminium wire. And it says it's the aluminium wire bags which are particularly worrisome.
Why?
Because they mix with the fluoride icons, right?
The aluminium, right,
It
right.
becomes fluoride oxide.
Right. Prepare to be astounded.
Go on.
Are you ready? The claim was made that fluoride... Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
The claim was made that fluoride leaches aluminium by two scientists it was either India or Sri Lanka.
So?
Wait for it. And they claimed that fluoridated water caused aluminium to leach from cooking utensils and raise the level of aluminium to dangerous levels.
That's right.
Unfortunately, the experiment has not been repeated.
Well...
Now, you know what that means in the scientific world, don't you, Garfield?
Yes, but...
What does it mean?
Listen...
What? No, it doesn't... No, what does it mean?
In the scientific world?
Yes, in the scientific world.
If the experiment is not repeatable...
If an experiment cannot be repeated, what does that mean to a scientist?
Well, it means it has no credence.
Exactly.
But, where have you read that?
In the... BMJ.
Oh, well, there you go, you see.
What do you mean?
Eh? That doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah, it means British Medical Journal, that's what it means.
Oh, yeah, but they how many times have they been wrong?
Well, you can't afford to be wrong too often, I suppose, if you're a doctor.
Anyway.
Yeah?
This police officer. Now, come on. You're not serious, are you?
What?
You know he did the right thing.
Well...
Anybody would do that.
This is... Now... Well, No, anybody would not do that. That's the point.
No. Not anybody. I mean, all the do-gooders wouldn't. That's why we've got this problem in the first place. But listen, don't forget a police officer, right, has to meet a particular strict set of criteria, right, before he gets the job.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be of good character.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be of reasonable temperament.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be able to handle difficult situations.
Well, we saw how successful that is, didn't we, in that documentary the other week? In, was it in Nottingham?
Well, what you're going to do now is you're going to pick out an isolated incident of probably 0.1% of somebody who got it wrong.
We were just establishing something now. What we're doing is we're establishing something. This police officer apparently hit a... I don't know how old were the lads.
I couldn't care less how old he was.
Well, no, I'm just because it's.
Didn't he do well?
Right, he did well. There are people who are lobbying, and it is against the law to one degree or another in different parts of Europe to hit your own child.
Well, we're not talking about hitting children. We're talking about hitting jobs that won't do what they're told.
Right. So you can hit. So really. It's very much hitting people is only wrong in certain circumstances.
Yes.
Right. Okay then. All right. So he hits a police officer. As far as I can tell, an off-duty police officer.
Ah, but that shouldn't make any difference.
Does it make a difference?
No.
Oh.
No, because if he's a police officer, he must have met that strict set of criteria. So whether he's on duty or off duty, he's still of good character, good temperament, he's used to handling difficult situations, he's used to weighing up all these different characters that he's surrounded by on a daily basis.
Okay.
So he can spot a hoodlum, right,
Right, so he's used to handling difficult circumstances, so presumably at some point in his police training, it said to him, if you're confronted by someone kicking a football against a hedge, hit them.
Wait, you've got that wrong.
Oh, sorry, is that... No, but
he kicked that football against his car.
And his hedge, sorry.
Well, his hedge, you won't be worried about his hedge, but his car.
Well, apparently, the hedge features very largely in this story.
You said you lived on a main road.
So, yeah.
Oh, dear me. Lead poisoning. That's another one.
What is?
Lead poisoning, a lot of traffic passing your windows.
Tea bags?
No, lead poisoning from car fumes.
Fumes?
Fumes.
I did notice the last time the M60 was closed and they diverted the traffic down our road, part of the hedge died. I noticed that.
Well, yeah, you open that for fresh air, you breathe that in, there's no wonder you can't understand this rational debate that I'm trying to put across here.
Oh, good grief. Anyway, look, let's try it without. Right. Noggin the nog, says Martin Bagley. You can get 10 years for that. Did I tell you that an ancestor of mine was strung up by the Jacobites? Oh, mate, oh. Muffin the Mule, etc., etc. Thank you. P.S. Don't forget your John Innes, number 7. Thanks. Did it go up to 7? I thought it was on... okay. They're all... Spoon Man in Moston says... Jackie, you sound very nice. What are you doing this Friday? Maybe we can go down Piccadilly and throw tomatoes at... No, message ends. Right. He's been reading Superman comics again, hasn't he? Says Rick in Bury. Stupid Yorkshire pillock. I couldn't possibly venture an opinion one way or another. There was something... there was something that I wanted to do. I had something very important to tell you. I can't remember what it is. What it was. Yes, I was just saying, if you're still with us, by the way, I said this early before you got back from the pub, the cup final, I mean, splendid stuff. Lancashire doing very nicely. Wigan, woof. Ricky Hatton, he knew he'd been in a scrap, didn't he?
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Ricky Hatton.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And the cup final, extraordinary stuff. He's like Gerard's like Roy of the Rovers, isn't he? That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Did you see that shot? It never. The first one, it looked as if he actually shinned it a little bit, but it went in anyway. The second one, it was like Newton's various laws did not apply because it just went as 40. It was 35 yards, wasn't it? And it was still the same distance of it, and still travelling. I think if he stood there, if he remained where he was at Wembley, in a couple of days, that ball would come round again and hit him on the back of the head.
Yeah. Boomerang styling.
If even allowing for the Coriolis effect, which is a tendency to dress up as a clown.
FA Cup finals always go to penalties, don't they?
No, in fact.
No, well,
no.
They seem to.
No, that's completely untrue. Very good of you to put it forward as a hypothesis.
Yeah.
But this is what I was going to say. Have you noticed? There they are. Did you see when they have to go in a room? Right, they've got all football grounds. They've got a room where they have to put that thing up with all the sponsors' names on at the back.
The thing in the room?
Yeah, there's a room with a thing in it.
Okay. Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Of course. And it's got all the sponsors' things, and they have to stand in front of
sponsors' things?
Yeah, okay. Logos. Logi.
Oh, no, where they do the interviewing?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you just say that then?
But it's important because it's actually, if they just roll it up afterwards, they just have to stand in front of it. Yeah.
Oh, I see,
yeah.
Right.
It's like a...
Well, we do that here, don't we, with photos?
Yeah, it's like a curved thing. But I couldn't help... There we are. The cup finals. The cup final. The oldest cup competition in the world. It fully recovered its glamour since Manchester United did their best to, discredit it, if you remember. Fully now re-established as the premier sporting event in the calendar, this, that and the other. 90 minutes of relentless football, followed by another 30 if necessary, brought to you by beer, pop and hamburgers.
I know, isn't it sad?
Should we speak to Connor then?
Yeah, let's.
Or have you got stuff to do there?
They can wait.
Ooh. Connor in Salford. Connor.
Hello, James. How are you?
You're on Key 103.
Yeah, the voice of the Northwest.
Absolutely.
Freedom of speech, and we can say what we like.
Well,
within
we'll
reason.
see.
To a degree.
Well, within the law.
Within the law, yeah.
Yes.
Law. Quick point, though. I was listening to you about an hour ago when you mentioned that psychic about Manchester City getting the FA Cup final.
Oh, yes.
He was nearly right. West Ham knocked them out, didn't they? They could have been there and they would have won them.
Yes, I suppose you can look at it that way, yeah.
Look at it that way. I'd like to talk about a serious Northwest issue. You may not be aware, but you might be aware. A film set was called See No Evil, about the Moors murders on TV Tonight drama.
Oh, yes, I understand so, yeah.
I was actually part of the Canada Television film crew in a form of like a driver, so I've got good knowledge on it, so I'm not making it up.
Right.
And Michael McNulty, who played Dave Smith in it, is a very good friend of mine. I've had a chat with him, and he will give you a phone call tomorrow, right, and they'll come on your show exclusive to you, if you're willing to let him on, James.
By all means, yeah, but by all means.
Yeah, if you're going to try and make it tonight, but he says that, he did apologise, he couldn't make it tonight. He's going to back me up on the things we're going to say about it.
Okay, go on.
Right, so I'd just like to inform yourself and your local Northwest listeners that on the circumstances. Now, would you be aware, James? The police have opened an investigation again on the Moors. Did you watch it tonight by any chance?
I didn't know. I was busy preparing and entertaining in my own way.
You've got to do your own work, I suppose, on your show.
But of course.
Right, but basically, exclusive this just to Key 103 listeners. So if you don't listen to this show, you won't have this information. This is breaking news I'm going to pass on to you, James. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Now, if I said to you, don't be astonished, will you believe that they've actually found Keith Bennett's remains?
Well, this is a very serious allegation for you to make, Connie. You realise that, don't you?
I do realise it, but I can... Michael McNulty, who was in the show as well, which was Dave Smith in the show, will back me up on the things. What I'm saying to you tonight. It's not like making an allegation. I have basically, there's a local company called PC Sutton, 25-year service, yes? So I worked on the show in November 2005. Yes, James, you following me?
I'm listening to you, yes.
So that's what I'm saying to you. It's not a wind-up thing. It's such a serious thing you couldn't wind up over it. And you had television going to follow up. So basically, November 2005, when they were doing the filming on the Moors, there was evidence found of basically, it was a beer bottle, a packet of crispy, plastic bag, and evidence. So the police then in February 2006, James, you following this?
Of course, don't keep asking me. I'm following it. I can follow anything.
Right, well, you just follow then. Took DNA evidence from myself and Canada Television to track down the DNA evidence. And 2 weeks ago, the end of March, they've actually, Ian Brady was in the paper, and he did say he was going to show them where the remains was. Yes, James?
Yes.
And so he was actually seen about 12:10 on the Moors on the 3rd of March, 4th of March it was a Friday night, where he was digging up. So just for you and your local Northwest listeners, and for Winnie as well, God rest her soul, God rest her, there's nothing more than local people like him. She did find the remains, of Keith. And Ian Brady was on the Moors 3-4 weeks ago. Do you remember the article in the paper what he was on?
I can't remember any mention of Ian Brady being on the... I'm sure it would have received enormous media coverage if that been the case.
I won't even, you mentioned the paper, but it was a daily paper. I won't give him a mention anyway.
You can if you want.
No, I don't want to.
Oh, okay.
It was headline news on that. Brady talks after 14 years of silence and confesses. I actually wrote a letter to Ian Brady in prison, and informed him what he was found. 7-10 days later, he actually went to the press. Don't you think that's a bit of a coincidence, James?
Well, I'd like to know a little more about what the letter contained and what he said to the press and so on and so forth.
Right, well, I'll tell you what I wrote to Ian Brady a letter of the evidence that I found on the Moors, which had the full backing of Canada Television, who was doing the programme. And the things that I found on the Moors, Ian Brady gave a clue. Find the clues, you'll find his body. I can see, but I can't be seen. Were you aware of that, James?
I'm following, ish.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, when we was filming on the Moors, I was a part of the TV crew.
Yeah.
And they found the thing. Now, what's happened since then? The local copper PC Sutton, 25 years of service. he took the evidence what I found, which would be a beer bottle which Brady had on the moors at the time, Midas beer bottle, a crisp packet, cellophane tape, wrapper, which was only about 12 inches away, a foot away from where the police was digging in the 80s. Now the police will confirm it to you, and the papers have followed up a little bit, confirmed it to you.
Right.
They have found the remains of Keith Bennett.
Then why hasn't his mother been informed then?
Well, I think she has been informed because it took a bit. I was on the show a few weeks ago talking about it. And what is, with the police now, they don't seem to, I'm not calling them, they don't seem to rush things and take it. But what happened with Ian Brady actually was on the moors April 2006, start of April. Late March, April, and I've got evidence of proving it and pictures to prove it. That's after, I think the last time we had a conversation was 88. That's good 20 years ago, isn't it, James?
No.
It's
18.
18 years, isn't it? And he took a local newspaper, major newspaper, I will tell you where the body was.
Okay, right, listen, whoa. The last time I had contact with Winnie Johnson.
Yeah.
She was still unaware of the whereabouts of Keith's body.
Right. If I inform you now, right, that it's called the 4th Murder Squad at Pendleton, right, and what that does, outstanding murders, I've got DNA proof, and they've actually dug up about 12 days ago, 14 days ago, at a hill. But it's Brady took them to, which I told them to.
You did?
Yes.
You told them to?
Yeah, but I worked with Ian Brady as well, because I worked on the show as well, that's why I was there.
Yes.
You understand that a little bit? I wouldn't like to... the only thing I would ask, Winnie, and I do believe this in my heart of heart, that, if when the body gets announced, that Winnie will pass away shortly after when she's buried her son. Would you believe that?
Well, it can't. It's such things have been heard of. It can't be ruled out. But I find this. I mean, we sometimes speak to people here who are for example, the only person who really knows how black holes work, or the only person who knows what happened when the Twin Towers collapsed, that sort of thing. And I can't help but feel. Like these things you see in the innovations catalogue, and you think, if they're really such a good idea, why aren't they all over the show? So how come, as far as we're aware, nobody, including the late Keith Bennett's mother, knows where his remains are, except you?
Well, this is what I'm saying to you, exactly. So
I know that's what you're saying.
You and the North West, and Key 103 especially, because it's a local issue, advance notice that this will break. When it comes on to the next show, I will. I can't guarantee you, but I'm saying you can pass my number on to Winnie, right? And I've also had advance warning of it. The Chief Inspector of Greater Manchester, who's looking into it, the evidence that I give to them, right, has proved back where they dug, and they dug there 12 days ago, and 18 days ago they released Ian Brady from Ashford Hospital and took him there at midnight.
Right. Okay. In conditions of total secrecy.
Secrecy, yeah.
Yeah, secrecy.
Because that's what it was like, because it was only a coincidence that someone who, a very close friend of mine, was passing, and he seen the police and the lights, and apparently, the lay-by what they've used when his body's not far away, has been sealed off now.
I see.
So, I'd just like to pass this information on. I would love, to show Winnie what I found there, and don't be surprised, because you're the first person who's going to report it, and you can be famous for it.
Well, that wouldn't be my motive in so doing, but
it wouldn't be my motive either. My only motive would be, if it's announced, and I'd just like to, because I'm a regular listener, I've been on your show for many, many years.
Yeah.
And inform it, and it's a local North West story.
Yes, indeed, so it is.
Yeah.
Right, all right, Connor. Well, we'll look into that. I can't help but feel that it wouldn't. This wouldn't be where the story would break, you know what I mean? I would have thought probably, I don't know what newspaper, but maybe it's the one who keeps telling something about Princess Diana most days of the week, maybe something like that. I would have thought that would have been where I know it's the male that generally buys up things of this nature, isn't it?
Yeah,
Not hello.
No, it doesn't tend to be.
No.
Okay.
You know, that was Connor in Salford, so we look forward to further news on that one. 0161 288 0103. It's James H. Reeve on Key 103. What else is there to do? I wrote down some. How much bloody paper?
There's loads of emails.
Do some of them then.
Hi Jackie. Last
Do you
week.
notice how I responded to the occasion? You know this.
I've just started doing one of these.
No, I've just had it. No, I've got to deal with things because you know my mind's like a grasshopper. No, it was a fly. Or was it a ukulele? I'm not sure. Yeah, Tony Blair signed this petition, hasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a couple of days after 4 people got 12 years.
Yeah.
For animal rights extremist behaviour.
Who's the petition going to be handed into?
Maybe back to him.
So, when he gets it, he'll be going, who signed this? But
I did.
I better do something about this. I've signed this. Look, Prime Minister, that's me, that. Better get onto this one straight away. I might not be able to vote for myself. It's all rubbish, isn't it?
Paul in Bredbury. Last week, old Wiggy promised us he'd put a picture of Carita on the website. That old timer's probably forgotten again. Can you take charge and put Carita on?
Now, I've looked into this, and we can't actually get any picture. This is Carita who starred in The Viking Queen. We can't actually access the pictures of Carita. We can get them. We can get them on the Google Images.
Are we blocked?
But if you try to go to the actual site, you're not allowed to have them because it's.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Classified as. I can't help get the feeling our system's set a little. Bit of a low threshold. Actually.
I'm worried that every time we try and get on these sites, a note goes to the IT people and says, "You're no."
Oh, a thing goes off at head office.
Yeah.
Red light goes. Do you
think?
That, yeah.
And when you get to, I don't know, 10,
ding,
20...
Ding, 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 ding.
Like
when you give a tip at Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, goes like that, yeah.
Yeah. Might finally come and get you.
Come and get me.
Escort you out the building.
Anyways,
this is in relation...
so we're working on the Carita problem. Would you accept Julie Edge instead? She was alright. Oh, what about Noggin the Nog?
Oh yeah, we should put Noggin the Nog
on.
Yeah. Johnny in Salford says that following the stunning revelation that Michelle Ponting might be an undercover Aussie agent last Thursday, there's a very easy way to find out. She'll have a kangaroo tattoo about her person. Have a quick look, James.
I'll investigate in the outback.
Hi, James. Did you see the outrageous comments?
I'll see if there's one in the bush. Mate.
Stop it now. Made by Sir Elton John over the weekend. Prepare yourself for a shock, James. You better sit down. Well, you sat down.
I am sitting down. I'm sat sitting down.
Sir Elton, whilst talking about Test match cricket, compared our great game to baseball. Can you believe it?
I believe so.
The greatest game in the world compared to Yankee glorified rounders. If Elton ever showed his face in our local, well, he'd get his leg slapped.
Well, I'll tell you something. This has got to stop because someone tried to claim that the Septics invented the ball that swings in the air. I mean, what is it? You're throwing it. How far is it? How far is it from where the pitcher stands to the thingy, the batter?
It's not. Well, I don't know.
Whatever it is.
Do you want it in yard?
Anyway, yeah, claiming that they invented the ball that swings in the air. But when was this? Because cricket's been going. I think the first recorded incident of cricket is in 1700 and something.
Yeah.
Right? Perhaps it was. Perhaps this was in medieval Brooklyn. I don't know. And then wait for this one. Guess who claimed that they actually invented it? Not the English. Guess who?
Americans.
No. Worse, if anything.
Really?
Oh, I don't know. I can't decide which is worse. If it wasn't the Americans, what would the next worst thing be?
French.
Correct! Correct in every detail. Yes. But of course, this is all claptrap. There is also, however, the rather disturbing fact that guess what is the oldest international cricket fixture?
The oldest international cricket fixture.
All right, well, the first international cricket match. And I think they still play each other. But the first international cricket match was between which two countries?
England?
No. Well, no to either of them. It would have to be two countries. I'll give you a clue. They are neighbouring countries.
Iran and Iraq?
Well, that's just being ridiculous. Although, you would think cricket...
France and Germany?
No. You would think that there is a Swiss Cricket Association.
Sure.
You would think that it would be a sunny country that would have invented cricket, wouldn't you?
Oh, so there's a clue.
No, it's not a clue.
Oh.
No. I'm just saying.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So is it a sunny country?
Sometimes-ish.
Oh. Are you sure it's not England, then?
No, look. There are two countries between... It's an international cricket match. So the answer can't be England.
No,
even if England were one of them.
No, yeah. I don't know, go on.
Okay. The oldest international cricket fixture is between Canada and the USA.
Really?
1860... Not long after the Alamo, I think.
Oh, my God.
You'll find that's true.
Yeah, it's a bit of an anticlimax, actually.
What?
I thought I'd be more excited.
I think it's a stunning doing.
Should we go on?
Please do.
Hi, James. As I'm one of Jackie's greatest fans, please can you announce what will be happening during your Q103 Jackie Finnegan Birthday Spectacular Show on the 8th of June?
8th?
8th of June.
Yes.
8th of June. It's going to be your biggest show of the year, surely, an epic in radio broadcasting, and that's the 8th of June.
8th?
8th. Yeah. 8th. June.
Hurry up.
Hello, Jackie. As the producer and boss of the Key 103 talk show, can I make you an offer? I'm rather chubby, a bit thin on top. I do tend to waffle on quite a lot and get very confused when faced with easy-to-use dials, controls and switches. Bearing all this in mind...
This is just rib-tickling.
Is there any chance I could apply to be the stunt double for James H. Reeve on the Jackie Finnegan talk show? Especially for the more dangerous parts of your show. Linda in Lee. Hi, James. Is it true there's a webpage on eBay where you can buy tufts of James H. Reeve chest hair? Oh. Before I bid, tell me the truth. Is it chest hair and not from somewhere else?
Oh. Well, nobody can help that.
Ron in Rochdale, I've noticed that the James H. Reeve and Paul O'Grady shows have a lot in common. For example, both men think they're funny. Both men have trouble with technical controls. Both are quite out of date, and both work with a dog in the studio.
Oh, that's clever. Now that's funny.
That's rude.
That's very good, that. Excellent.
I should have read that one before, really, shouldn't I?
Well done. Oh, that's the last thing we can afford to do.
John in Salford, did you hear the Steve Penk show this morning? Live on air, he refused to be drawn on the James H. Reeve wig debate. He couldn't confirm one way or the other. Just exactly like Debbie Mack said. It's looking more and more likely. Says a wig. Tell the truth, James. Are you wearing a rug?
Right, I'll tell you something. Right, tomorrow night she'll be in here, won't she?
Yeah, she will.
Right, well, there's going to be some... She's going to be doing that, you know, when you go like that?
Like what?
You know, when somebody's trying to smack your legs and you go like that. You walk around in circles, don't you, putting your hand out. She's going to get some of that, I tell you. She'll feel the rough side of my tongue.
Oh. Hi, James. If the new Dorothy competition starts tonight, can you repeat the details throughout the evening? Okay. I may be late tuning in, and I don't want to miss it. Thanks, James. That's from Paul.
Well, we'll have to see what else Dorothy's forgotten.
Yeah. Well, she said she did have another one, didn't she?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it'll be wearing me reading glasses. We can't do that,
no,
can
that's
we?
rubbish.
That's got to be a bit...
Only Gary can sort that out.
Bit more intriguing. Oh, yeah.
Hi, honey. Please can you do your Robert Newton Long John Silver impression for me? You know it drives me wild and really gets me in the mood. That's from Sue in Denton. Go on then.
Mistress Purity. What?
That's rubbish.
Well, there's loads. I can't remember any of what the pieces of 8 would figure in it, I would imagine, somewhere.
Pauline Oldham, this is to Flick. Hi, Flick. I must disagree. I've been living with an older woman for most of my life and we get on fine. She's my mum.
I
got the impression you were dozing live on air last Thursday. Please try and stay awake tonight or Jackie may have to come in and give you a prod with her riding crop, says Linda and Lee.
It was... I was a bit drowsy on Thursday. I think it was with being the end of the week.
It was the weather as well.
Yeah, fresh air makes you tired, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, yeah, and a bit of rain.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. Is it true that the winner... Hi, guys. Is it true that...
He wants shooting with a blunderbuss full of his own excrement, doesn't he?
Is it true the winner of the new Key 183 Dorothy competition gets an all-expenses paid weekend in Paris with the lovely Jackie? Apparently there's also a BB prize, a B&B weekend in rainy Morecambe with James. Now that Debbie Mack has well and truly hung you out to dry for a wig joke, shouldn't you stand up and be counted? How about a duel live on air? My idea is a pillow fight in the studio. It would be a Key 103 first and make great radio, says Anne in Astley.
I think something will have to be done here because, I mean, she's only a bit of a whippersnapper, really, isn't she?
Yeah, she's tiny. Moira in Ancoats. Hello, James.
No, I mean in terms of stature in the, in the pecking order.
In
the hierarchy of things.
Oh, I see, yeah. Yeah, she is then in that case.
Okay.
Hello, James. 3 times now you've said we're looking into it regarding the free Key 103 We Love Jackie badges. As the Jackie Finnegan fan club continues to swell, shouldn't you put in a bit more effort? Come on, James, stop making excuses and get it sorted. I'd love one of those badges.
Yes, I'm sure he would.
Hi, James. You know last week when there was talk of an independent witness coming in to test the wig theory, how about Dale Winton? He'd love to run his fingers through your hair, and we'd trust him if he says it's real. Mark in Wigan.
I do not want... I've got enough trouble with the bloke next door, the bloke at the cafe next door, right? And he's a bit restrained, isn't he, really? It's only the drink talking, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, actually, I don't know, because I went in a couple of days after that incident, and I said, oh, I said you were...
Which we shall refer to hereinafter as the incident.
The incident, yeah. And I said, oh, you were funny the other night when you kissed James on the head, and he went a bit kind of, coy.
Coy?
Coy.
Well, like a fish?
And that's carp.
Oh, right. How did he go then?
Like, oh, did I? Or like kind of sheepish.
Sheepish?
There's too many animals
involved. No, thank you. It's like a bloomin' menagerie. Miss Specialty's an Englishman. Right, I've had enough of this drip. Oh, are you going to just finish this off, are you?
Last one.
As it were. Sorry.
Hey, James, while Jackie's away next month doing her exclusive By the Pool World Cup reports. Brilliant, am I?
Not if I can help it.
May I suggest you could bring in Storm Chaser to do the Key 103 exclusive 3-day weather reports?
Good grief. It would take 3 days, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, yeah.
The weather would be over. Anyway. Oh, have you heard of Michael Fish?
No.
Apparently, he told somebody on the X Factor to F off.
Really?
Yeah, brilliant. Hey,
got to go now.
Oh, yeah, we've got to go because we've got an hour of non-stop music coming up. And then it's Sam Walker from 2 o'clock to 6, back here at 10 o'clock this evening with Theories and Queries. I thank you.